Following is a special presentation of TNN Sports.
Green flag.
Only 8 races to go in the Nascar Winston Cup season, starting with 400 laps today at Dover Downs. There are many more questions than answers. Is Jeff Burton within reach of his first Winston Cup title? Can Dale Earnhardt mount an attack towards his 8th crown? Can Mark Martin win his 4th straight in the fall at Dover? And what happened to this year's rookie battle? Answers coming up as we preview the MBNA.com 400 live on TNN Sports.
There are 3 drivers in today's field who have never won a Winston Cup race that are running particularly well here at Dover this weekend. The first of those is Rick Mast. Rick will start from the outside pole. He has had a pole here in the past. He has a history of doing well at Dover. They're looking to capture that first victory ever here at the Monster Mile today. Joining me on pit road, here's Ralph Shaheen.
Glenn, another one of those drivers who stands a real good shot of getting his first win here is Johnny Benson Jr. JB is driving a car that took him to his career best finish in a Winston Cup race, second at Bristol this past March, and he'll start today's race third. Here's Mike Hogwood.
Mike Skinner's hoping the day is the day he gets his first Winston Cup win. Now, he qualified 24th, but he had a great happy hour yesterday, 3rd fastest. But Mike Skinner wrecked in yesterday's Busch race. He's a little bit sore, has burns on his neck. He's one tough driver, though, says he's ready to go all 400 laps. And we're ready to get you ready for the MBNA.com 400. It's coming up on TNN.
There is a threat of rain, but the crowd hasn't been deterred at all. Sold out. Better than 100,000 fans on hand here at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. The MBNA.com 400. Just 30 minutes away here on TNN Sports. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Monster Mile. I'm Eli Gold. Glad you're with us. And yes, there is a chance of some inclement weather here today, but nevertheless, we're set to go racing on the track that the drivers call the ultimate roller coaster. You dive into turn number 1. You have to climb the banking out of turn number 2. You do the same thing again at the other end of the speedway. It's a wild ride. And Buddy Baker, actually, you talk about wild rides, it looks like the Darlington stripe has retaken residence here in Delaware this weekend.
It has that. About 5 people have actually got into the wall coming off turn 4, and the reason, they're right on the edge. They have a new tire here, has a little more stagger, meaning the car turns a lot easier, but that gives you an insecure feeling coming up out of the corner, and they're right on the edge. They'll have to watch it today, or everybody will have the Dover stripe.
The editor of Speedway Illustrated magazine is alongside, as per usual, Dr. Dick Berggren, who has seen his share of races here at Dover, and it's simple to say, it's just one tough racetrack.
Yeah, yesterday Jeremy Mayfield said it is one mean oval. Kyle Petty said if they were ever going to build another racetrack like this, somehow or another all the drivers would chain themselves to a bulldozer so they couldn't build it. Line of the weekend, though, if this place were ancient Rome and they were going to build a Coliseum to race cars instead of Christians versus Lions, place would look just like this. Tough, you bet.
Now, when you talk about a tough racetrack, it's not likely anybody could lead all of the laps the way Jeff Burton did a weekend ago in New Hampshire. But Jeff Burton certainly has his eyes set on the biggest prize of the year, the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Let's pick up his story down on pit road.
Jeff Burton has put himself right back in the thick of the Winston Cup points fight. Bad luck plagued him early. After this wreck at Atlanta, Burton was 13th in the points. Here at Dover in June, a transmission problem led to a 31st place finish. But since the end of June, no one has scored more points than Burton. He won the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Then last week in New Hampshire, he became the first driver in over 2 decades to lead every lap, holding off Bobby Labonte for the win. And it probably is pretty unlikely that Jeff Burton could lead all the laps again today. Since he starts 21st, it'll be hard to get to the front that quick. But from what your competitors in the garage area tell me, you got a good race car for today's race.
Well, we're okay. We're nothing like Mark is. Mark's got the field covered right now. If things are today like they were yesterday, it'll it'll be a Mark Martin show. He'll just beat everybody pretty badly, but we made a few adjustments on our car. We'll see what happens.
Well, Jeff Burton has always been one of those guys that's great from coming from the rear. Don't count him out today. Here's more from Ralph Shaheen.
Dale Earnhardt has been the most exciting driver on the circuit this year. He won the most exciting race, beating Bobby Labonte in a photo finish at Atlanta in March. He had the most exciting loss as well, getting bumped aside by Jeremy Mayfield at Pocono. A couple of subpar finishes have hampered his run for an 8th championship. Despite this battle with Jeff Burton to stay on the lead lap last week, his 12th place finish dropped Earnhardt from 2nd to 4th in the NASCAR Winston Cup points. Well, Dale Earnhardt proudly welcomed his first granddaughter, Carson Kingsley, into the world this week. Congratulations on that, first of all. But a tough race for you last week in New Hampshire. You came out with a frustrating 12th. How difficult is it going to be for you to get this 8th championship now?
Well, if we keep doing what we've been doing, it's not going to happen. But, you know, we got to get back up to top 5s and, you know, try to win a race or two. And it's just that's the end of it. That's all what you got to do. And we've not been there. And them guys have been racing 1, 2, and 3 up there in the front. Bobby keeps doing what he's doing. He's going to be hard to catch from anybody. But I've been passed for second, and I'm not happy about that. So we got to work hard and get back up front.
Dale Earnhardt will start 37th today, but don't forget, champions overcome adversity. Mike Hogwood.
Well, we're with Bobby Labonte, who is the points leader now. And Bobby, when you get to this point in the season, do you start thinking about it a little bit?
No, not really. Everybody asks about it, and that's about all. But all you do is think about, you know, really worrying about this race here, just like it was the first race here at Dover or whatever. You know, you just go out there and run the best you can. At the end of the day, you see where you're at. You know, there's no thinking about anything during the race other than trying to win or finish second or finish third in that order. We got a great team with our Interstate Batteries Pontiac. We got a good race car, so hopefully we can just finish as good as we can today.
Bobby Labonte starts 17th. Expect him to get up towards the front pretty quick, Eli.
Folks, as we take a look at the NASCAR Winston Cup points, let's reiterate something we talked about a weekend ago in New Hampshire. Here in 1992, we left Dover, 6 races to go. Alan Kulwicki was 278 points out of the lead. That's worse off than Dale Earnhardt is right now. And as history shows, Kulwicki went on to win the NASCAR Winston Cup title by 10 points, the narrowest margin in the series history. Anything is possible. Dover will go a long way to filling in the blanks. Tony Stewart, he's in full
racing that takes place here at Dover Downs. This is a unique facility. There is a track within the track. A horse track rings the inside of the racetrack. Harness racing takes place here November through April. It's the second largest daily purse of harness racing anywhere in the country. So today, while we're watching horsepower under the hood, they're getting ready for a big season of real horsepower here on the racetrack at Dover Downs.
Hi, Mike. You've heard of Mr. Ed. That was Mr. Mike with that report about horsepower. Buddy, let's talk about some of the rookies. Matt Kenseth, he has finished 6th or better in all 3 of his NASCAR Winston Cup starts here, not to mention his win yesterday in the NASCAR Busch Series race. Why has Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and a lot of the younger guys, why have they taken so easily to this racetrack?
Very simple to understand. They're in great physical shape, and they attack the racetrack. Here at Dover, you have to put extra effort in. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's won 2 Busch Grand National races here. He has experience. He gets up on that steering wheel and stays there. Matt Kenseth, as you said, he's already finished to 2nd here, just like Mark Martin. They're in good shape, and they'll run it hard all day long.
Ralph Shaheen and Glenn Jarrett both take a closer look at this Rookie of the Year battle.
Matt Kenseth returns to his favorite track and hopes to get his season back on track. Kenseth had a huge weekend here 2 years ago. First, he won the Busch Series race here on Saturday afternoon. Then, on Sunday, he filled in for Bill Elliott, making his Winston Cup debut a success with a 6th-place finish. Hard to believe, but that's his worst finish here in 3 Winston Cup starts. He was 4th last September and runner-up to Tony Stewart this past June. Well, Matt showed his expertise here at Dover yesterday by winning the Busch Grand National race. But, Matt, you've also become quite the pupil of Mark Martin, who has dominated this venue in Winston Cup racing. What has he taught you about Dover?
Well, this is probably one of Mark's better tracks, and he was running real good yesterday. I don't know if we're good enough to run with him or not, but this has always been a good track for me and my team. we've always been able to get the dog car to run pretty good, so we need to be patient today, and hopefully we can work our way to the front.
Matt Kenseth will start 31st here today. Glenn Shear.
Like Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had a great deal of success here at Dover. Junior's 2 Busch Series wins here helped him to win 2 NASCAR Busch Series championships. But after bursting onto the Winston Cup stage in the spring with wins at Texas, Richmond, and in the Winston, Dale Jr. has struggled a bit lately. He hasn't had a top 10 finish since Dover in June, and trouble has found him all too often lately, like last week in New Hampshire when he got caught up in someone else's wreck and finished 31st. And Dale Jr. will start 13th today. He's hoping that will be a lucky number for him. From what Tony Eury Sr. told me this morning, Dale, you guys have been thrashing a little bit. Haven't really gotten the car to your liking yet.
No, we ain't, but we've had fun trying. We really were focused in practice and tried the best we could. Hopefully we got what we need underneath the car, something kind of close. Everybody's really struggling on the tire Goodyear brought here. It kind of feels like a little plastic Hot Wheel car tires. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the weather works with us and we get the race in. Want to say hello to Carson Kingsley, the latest member of the Earnhardt family, and hope Kelly and everybody at home's doing all right. And hope all you fans at home going to enjoy what you see.
Well, I tell you what, he shouldn't have any trouble playing with those Hot Wheel cars. It hadn't been that long since he was really doing that, Eli.
Little friendly shove right there. If you want to compare the numbers, folks, there you have Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Their ongoing battle for the NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year honors. You see 256 points to 234 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Hey, folks, quick reminder. You can log on right now to TNNRacing.com and join our exclusive free online webcast for all of today's action of the MBNA.com 400. You can ride along with 6 in-car cameras, including 1 in the car of our series point leader, Bobby Labonte. Or if you'd like, you can listen in live to the radio talk between the crews and the drivers while they plan their strategy. And you can get all of that on our free fan scan feature. TNNRacing.com is your online all-access 24-hour credential to today's action. The Dawn Patrol coming up next. Hi, everybody. Dover Downs International Speedway getting set to go racing in the MBNA.com 400. 7 o'clock this morning. The garage area opened bright and early. Dick Berggren, as per usual, was waiting for those doors to swing wide.
22-year-old Kurt Busch, in his rookie appearance in Winston Cup, has been dazzling. He was the 10th quick qualifier, 7th quick in happy hour, and then with 6 minutes to go last night in happy hour, Busch found the wall. Car extensively damaged. They have replaced the right front suspension, everything underneath the back end of the car, pounded out the sheet metal. Extra work from the crew will allow this car to start today. Mark Martin is a favorite to win this afternoon, and why not? He has won 3 of these September races in a row. He won happy hour last night. No changes to the car this morning. They're delighted with it. Rusty Wallace almost won the pole with this car. They, too, were happy with their happy hour performance. No changes to it. The 99 car of Jeff Burton, they are changing the gear in that car and also making suspension changes to try and get the car to run better on the bottom. That's where he wants to pass. Point leader Bobby Labonte is focused on a top 5 finish. With the emphasis on finish, there have been a few tire failures. Goodyear has set minimum specifications for camber and air pressure. Labonte will start the race right on those specifications. The goal, no tire failures. Got to finish to win.
We are just 12 minutes away from the green flag. As soon as we return to Dover Downs, the playing and singing of our national anthem, then we are going racing live on TNN Sports. Track is, do you folks remember that back in 1971 when Bobby Allison won the Mason-Dixon 500 on asphalt with bias-ply tires, the race here at Dover was run caution-free. Remarkable. When we come back now, it's time for the national anthem. Coley McCabe, RCA recording artist, with the Star-Spangled Banner.
Work on her debut album due out in early spring. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome RCA recording artist Coley McCabe for today's singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
In the shadows of the Dover Air Force Base, the stealth bomber flying by overhead, Dover Downs International. We are about set to go racing, and as soon as we come back on TNN Sports, a final pre-race thought, and then the green flag for the MBNA.com 400. The following is a special presentation of TNN Sports. Everyone had their plate full last weekend in New Hampshire. Jeff Burton held the voracious Dale Earnhardt a lap down and led from grace to dessert to claim his third win of the season. This week, he must face a different, hungry monster.
Dover is not one of my favorites. It is a tough racetrack. That's a track that you really need to be able to run well on because you can make up a lot of points, and there's less people you have to beat to win the race.
Dale Earnhardt is hungry to win, but even the Intimidator respects Dover.
It's a tough place to race, but trouble is a tough thing to get out of here or stay out of, and you can be riding up on a lap car and get right into it.
Dale Jarrett knows patience is the key in the championship battle, but Dover is relentless.
You know, it's very, very physically demanding. When you finish 400 laps there, because of the speeds especially that we're running, you're not in one place very long, so it doesn't give you time to really recuperate.
They all enter the monster's jaws today in pursuit of this man, knowing that the Monster Miles' inevitable bite could take a big chunk out of Bobby Labonte's point lead. Labonte himself knows all about the disappointment Dover Downs can bring. It's bruised bodies, boiling tempers, crunching sheet metal. It's an afternoon wrestling match with the monster.
If you could be any Winston Cup driver this season, you probably wouldn't choose Mark Martin. But when September comes to Dover, Delaware, he is the hands-down choice. For the last 3 seasons, he has owned Dover's second race. A visit to Victory Lane today may be just what his team needs. This is a tough, demanding racetrack. Tough on cars, tough on drivers, and no driver's tougher or better prepared than Mark Martin. His car's ready. He starts 5th. He was fastest in happy hour. Car 6 is the car to beat.
Rusty Wallace has arguably had the most successful season in Winston Cup this year. But although Rusty has more wins, more poles, and has led more laps than the top 3 points contenders combined, he is still 469 points out of that battle in 5th place. Rusty Wallace has won 3 times here at Dover. He won the fall race in '93 and both races in '94. Hasn't won here since, but he did bring the car to Dover that he ran once this year at Bristol. It won the pole and the race. He'll start 4th today.
Matt Kenseth leads the rookie battle this season. In May, he celebrated his first Winston Cup win under the lights at Charlotte. But Matt's first ride in a Winston Cup car came right here at Dover 2 years ago when he finished 6th, subbing for Bill Elliott. Today, Matt's new teammate Kurt Busch will spring from Friday's victorious truck ride here at Dover and into his own debut in the number 97 Roush Ford. And although Matt Kenseth will start from 31st position, he will be a factor in today's race before it's over. However, the jury is still out on his young teammate Kurt Busch. He crashed hard in happy hour yesterday afternoon. They fixed the car. He will start 10th, but he learned real quickly just how quick and how hard the Monster Mile can bite you here. All these stories and much, much more are coming up live right now on TNN Sports.
A threat of rain, it's not kept better than 100,000 fans from flocking to Dover Downs. The MBNA.com 400 is the next stop on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and you'll see it live today right here on TNN Sports. The NASCAR Winston Cup point standings brought to you by Haviland. There you see the spread. Remember again that in 1992, Alan Kulwicki left here 278 points down and still managed to win the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Lots can change here today, but one thing that never changes at Dover, the command to fire the engines from Melvin Joseph. Welcome to Dover Downs International Speedway. I'm Eli Gold. Buddy Baker and Dick Berggren are alongside. Glad you're with us. It was that great racing philosopher Bobby Hamilton who once said, you never know what's going to happen at Dover. Sometimes you leave here smelling like a rose. Sometimes you leave here smelling like stinkweed. Only Bobby Hamilton could put it quite like that. But the bottom line, it's all the same. This is a racetrack where your fortunes can go out the window in a hurry.
Stinkweed. Oh,
exactly.
my. Well, I can tell you one thing. He's exactly right. Anything can happen at Dover, and usually does. I will tell you one thing, though. A lot of people here have their game face on today. It means a lot to these guys to run well today. It's time for a lot of people to make a great decision near the end of the race here.
Now, after seeing one guy lead all the laps last week at New Hampshire, Dick Berggren, is it likely we can see a repeat of last year here where we saw 25 lead changes?
Absolutely not. We saw 10 different drivers lead this race last year. A quarter of the field, 4 lead changes in the first 7 laps. This is one of the most competitive racetracks on the circuit and one of the most fun places to watch a stock car race.
Yeah, we're glad you're along with us. It should be a great afternoon of racing, so do stick around. TNN Sports is on hand here at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. The MBNA.com 400 is next. On Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, there is a significant chance of rain here. The wind has picked up again over the last hour or so, which might be the harbinger of waters to come, but we'll all wait and see together. We're set to go racing, and we're tickled that you're along with us. Now let's check out the Big K starting grid, sponsored by Kmart, where NASCAR race fans head for savings. Third pole of the year, Jeremy Mayfield. Great qualifying effort for Rick Mast. Best qualifying effort at Dover for Johnny Benson. And Rusty Wallace, who has 3 wins. Mark Martin has won the last 3 MBNA.com 400s. And Buddy Baker, the question begs to be asked. You heard Jeff Burton say nobody has anything for Mark. How much of this business is mental when you go into the race thinking that there's no way you can keep up?
Eli, you know, everybody says that Mark Martin has got this race sewed up. There's not a driver in there that's competitive that feels that way. They always feel like the crew is good enough and the mindset's good enough for them to make up the difference. Every guy in the front up there feels like he can handle Mark Martin.
Bobby Labonte has 10 top 10s on the concrete here at Dover Downs. There's Jeff Burton. 3rd win of the season came last week at New Hampshire. He joins Elliott Sadler. Kenny Wallace. Mike Skinner banged up a bit after yesterday. Jimmy Spencer likewise. Remember Tony Stewart, you heard from the guys earlier, led 242 laps here in June. And John Andretti, he's going to be sky high, Dick, coming off that fine finish at New Hampshire.
John had a terrific run last week. The team is elevated. They're ready to go today, Eli.
Ted Musgrave, Scott Pruitt, Bobby Hamilton, Darrell Waltrip, 53rd Dover start. He's got a couple of wins here. And then the fellas who are in on the provisional starting spots: Stacy Compton, Brett Bodine, Dave Marcus, Carl Long, and Steve Grissom. There you have the Big K starting grid for the MBNA.com 400. We have got Bobby Labonte, the NASCAR Winston Cup point leader, who takes us under the crossover bridge off turn number 2. We'll have Dave Blaney giving us a ride around the Monster Mile. Same thing for Robert Presley. Ricky Rudd, kind enough to carry an onboard camera. The same for Bill Elliott, the McDonald's drive-through team. And the man just up ahead of him, there's Ward Burton, giving us a ride around Dover Downs as well. This is a certified 1-mile racetrack, hence 400 laps, 400 miles. That is the NASCAR Busch Series garage you see there, center of the screen. That's turns 3 and 4. And we are set to go racing. Glad you've joined us on this Sunday afternoon. We're underway at Dover Downs in Delaware. Number 1, the 12th race he has led this year, including the 3rd straight at Dover. But Johnny Benson's going to come challenging him, working the back straightaway, and Benson will take over the top spot. Mark Martin got bumped. Watch this, lower right of your screen, a half a lap go. Ward Burton says, if you're not going, I'm going.
He almost lost it. That was a scary, scary moment. He's way up in front of the grid. All the cars behind him. That could have been a bad one. Oh, and there is a bad one right there.
Heavy trouble in the corner. Mike Bliss brings out the first caution, running in 19th spot. Mayfield reassumes the lead, and Rodney Wise will put that caution out here at Dover Downs. Mike Bliss in 19th spot goes up into the corner, and there are the results.
Eli, it's been a tough week for him. He got in the wall. They were beating the right side out on that car. He got in the wall yesterday in practice, so this time it looks pretty bad for the car. The left rear corner is gone. That's where they filled it up with fuel. Looked like he might be done today.
Let's see if we can take a look at what happened here going off into turn 1. That's him in the middle there. Let's see if he has help or what. Nope, nobody touches him.
Not yet. Right there,
it is.
Plenty of help.
Yeah.
Jeff Burton in the 99.
Jeff Burton just pushes him out of the way.
Yeah, in fairness, though, it is so tight there. I mean, you're looking at inches and fractions of inches between the cars, and to try and fix blame, pretty tough stuff.
Watch it again. Was Bliss coming down to that lower line?
Okay, you see the black part of the racetrack right there? That's the groove, right on the bottom there. He was trying to get down, and of course Burton was already there. They made contact.
The crew chief on that team is Barry Dodson. You see Mike Bliss is okay. Let's go to the pits.
Barry Dodson obviously not happy. Barry, what did Mike say happened?
He said, I thought I was clear. Jeff Burton doesn't drive that way, first of all. And Spotter told him we were clear behind the 18, so we got down to get into 1, and Jeff had already committed. I know Jeff doesn't drive that way. I hate it for us. Awesome qualifying run. Awesome car and happy hour trying to get the top 35 in points. Just something we didn't need. I hate it.
A lot of disappointment here in the 27 pits, Eli.
To say the very least. As Stacy Compton comes in, he'll make a pit stop at lap number 4 here at the Monster Mile. The spotters atop the grandstand looking on as well. Cleanup continuing out there in turns 1 and 2 after Mike Bliss found the wall to bring out the caution at lap number 3. Again, here's the incident. We talked about Mike Bliss was starting to angle down towards where Jeff Burton was, and Barry Dodson talked about that. There you see the hit As both men vied for the same piece of real estate, Bliss thought he was clear, and there is the resultant damage. And remember, about 3 laps prior, what is a heck of a hit by Ward Burton on Mark Martin.
Well, you see Rusty on the top there, but even at that, they were going pretty much down the straightaway, and Mark must have checked up a little bit because of traffic in front of him, and Ward got right into him hard. I guarantee you Bill Elliott knew about it. That's Bill in the third car there.
How damaging is that wrinkle there as far as aerodynamics or anything else here, buddy?
That won't hurt a thing there. It's down low and it's not in the air at all. And the upper spoiler up there was not hurt, so that's very important. That's the part that really works.
By the way, folks, while we remain under caution here, I want to take a quick second and offer our condolences to driver Ted Musgrave, whose dad Elmer passed away on Wednesday of this week in Gurnee, Illinois, at the age of 72. And Ted, coming from a racing family, said, my dad would have wanted me to continue racing, and I want to honor him by being at the racetrack. So the funeral services are scheduled for tomorrow, but certainly condolences to the entire Musgrave family from all of us here at TNN Sports and the entire NASCAR family here at Dover Downs. That's Rodney Wise. He's from the state of Delaware, serving as our chief starter today. And a reminder again, folks, you've still got time to log on to TNNRacing.com right now for our exclusive free online webcast of all today's action from here at Dover. You can ride along with those 6 onboard cameras we talked about earlier, including Bobby Labonte. You can also listen live to the radio talk between the crews and the drivers while they plan their strategies. And it's all free. TNNRacing.com is your online all-access 24-hour credential to today's MBNA.com 400. Working the first caution of the afternoon, Jeremy Mayfield leads. Have just now waved the green flag as the field is back to full power on the back straightaway. Jeremy Mayfield, the leader. Johnny Benson has already led 1 lap here today as well. There you see the Midas wall cam brought to you by the new Midas for a whole new way to keep a good thing going. Midas. They'll be giving you that shot all afternoon long.
This looks like a big crowd to you. It is 135,000 people here. Little contact there between Blaney in the 93 and Jeff Burton in the 99. Dennis McGlynn.
Caution, problems on the back straightaway. Cars spinning on the back stretch, and we are under caution. There you see Carl Long and Darrell Waltrip's machine going by. And yellow is out for the second time. There's Scott Pruitt involved as well. So Pruitt, Long, and then Darrell Waltrip, who it looked might have gotten woed up, slowed down in time. But the DNF numbers are really tough for the Scott Pruitt team this year.
Oh, yeah. Boy.
Yeah, and the left front is not even turning on that car, so they'll have to replace all the running gear on the left front of that car.
Yep.
A lot of work now for Carl Long's crew. A lot of beating and banging and bumping going on in the early stages here. It's one of those afternoons. Watch it again. First, you'll see Blaney and Jeff Burton. Dick told you about that earlier. And now what happens right behind it? Watch in the middle there. Bang from the back. That sends Pruitt going around.
And that silver car was Sterling Marlin that made contact there as they started out of turn 2.
And Carl Long also trying to spin to avoid, and there he is in the pit lane. Scott Pruitt gone to the garage.
And you might ask those guys if they're beginning to have fun yet. If they don't make it back out, that's going to be the 8th crash DNF. They've had 4 DNQs, 1 top 10 in 23 Winston Cup starts. Tough ride for Cal Wells and the bunch.
That car will be right back in the pits because the fenders are even with the tire there, so it's going to have a tremendous amount of tire rub when it gets low in the corners.
What is it, buddy, a full moon here or what today?
Yeah, I told it in my stand-up today. It's no longer just the Darlington stripe. The Dover stripe is here too.
Guys, just a little short here in the early stages at the Monster Mile. TNN's coverage rolls on after this. Monster Mile. Jeremy Mayfield, Johnny Benson, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott. That is your top 5.
Rusty Wallace in third place there is getting awful racy there. He made a move just a second ago on the outside trying to pass Johnny Benson on the high side. That normally does not work here. The lower groove, the preferred line, is right around that bottom part of the racetrack.
But he's always racy here. Remember, Ralph told you folks on the pre-race show how Rusty won 3 consecutive races here. 93 and 94. Same thing David Pearson and Jeff Gordon have done, winning 3 in a row.
And that is a terrific car he's got. That car was built brand new for the Bristol race back in August. He not only won the pole, won the race, he led more laps in that event than anybody else, and it has run incredibly well right off the truck here at Dover.
7th place is Lloyd Burton. Up front, 3rd place swaps around, going into turn 3. Mark Martin makes the inside move against Rusty Wallace.
It looks like the opinion of most of these people that Mark Martin is going to be the car to beat. They're pretty much on right now. He's making his way towards the front, starting back a little ways, but he is going through traffic.
That's you battle right now, the battle for 8th place. Dale Jarrett bumping with Roy Burton. Jerry Nadeau trying to figure out exactly where to go in the 25 car. And the view from Ward Burton's cap machine.
Well, even for Dover, this has been exceptionally physical so far today. They've got to calm down or we're not going to have any cars left.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8th. He's running in 12th.
You know what, that car, they said they weren't very pleased with it, that it was getting a little bit loose, meaning the back end of the car is trying to step out in the corner. But right now, he looks very, very good in the corner. And as the racetrack goes along, it'll get much tighter, meaning the front will stick better. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't worry about him too much. It'll actually bring the car where it gets great grip. He looks fast at this moment, and it's going to get better.
Ricky Rudd in the 28 with his 3rd place finish last week. He has posted 5 straight top 10 finishes now.
See him giving the hand signal there. There's no stoplights or turn signals on a race car, so the only way they can communicate is put your hand up and let them know they're slowing down so they don't have a problem with somebody running into them.
Where's Dale Earnhardt? He's back in 28th place right now, working to the inside of Kenny Wallace in the 55 and grabs the spot away.
Eli, he might be the greatest race car driver of our era, but he's the worst qualifier without a doubt. And he starts in the back of every race and goes up through there until he gets to about 5th place. We don't pay that much attention to him because you can see right now he really is a racer, but he's not much of a qualifier.
And he was very vocal about that this week as well. He said he's very unhappy about his qualifying. He said you can't win a championship starting when we are. 3 out of the 26 races so far this year, he has started out of the top 5. 10 of the 26, he has finished in the top 5. You're right, buddy. They have got to step up their qualifying effort should they want to win this championship, and you bet they do want to win it.
Watching Earnhardt in 26th position now. His son is in 13th. There you see Brett Bodine and Jimmy Spencer. You saw a moment ago how the 21 of Sadler went wide. Watch it again.
Yow, you could see the back end of the car just jump out from under him. Now that is when you talk about losing traction. Well, all 4 tires went at the same time, and there was only one thing to do. Go up the racetrack.
Trouble, turn 4.
Trouble in the
Dale Jarrett.
Dale Jarrett and the 22 of Ward Burton.
And there you see Jarrett and Burton at the top of the screen. And for the 3rd time today, the caution is out, lap number 26.
Ward Burton does not even have a back part of the race car there. That's the fuel tank and all right down on the pavement. They'll work on Dale Jarrett and probably get him back out. Does not look like it has that much damage, but Ward Burton's car looks really, really injured.
Dale Jarrett, who has finished in the top 10 in 16 of the last 17 races, has a ton of work to be done. Both Ward and Dale Jarrett going to the garage area, and we will certainly have updates from there shortly. Remember, though, the track narrows here, although I don't know if this was necessarily the cause, and we'll find out from the fellas shortly. but this track does narrow 10 feet as you come off the corner onto the tunnel-like straightaway. We'll find out if that was a problem or if it really has something to do from something that happened in the corner.
Eli, you said it in your stand-up. You run up the hill out of the corner. The car unloads as you get to the top of that hill, and you run right out against the wall. And a lot of times that's part of it. But I have a feeling they've been going at it pretty hard there for lap after lap.
They sure had. For DJ, this is a tough deal. He was only 174 points out of first, 6 points out of second coming into this event, and this is going to hurt bad. Oh boy, well, Ward lost it.
Yeah, he was already sideways by the time we took a look at that shot right there, and Jarrett was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, getting hit.
Eli, and I misspoke. Jarrett hit a ton up there on the driver's side. You could see the left rear really getting the impact there, so they will have to work on that car pretty hard to get it back into action.
Ricky Rudd was running right behind them. Let's see what he saw.
I see a little contact there.
Only one DNF, only one did not finish this year for Dale Jarrett. That's when he lost the engine in Atlanta. Don't know if Jerry Nadeau played a part in that or not. He was the other car right nearby, the 25.
When Ward went around, he definitely got bumped because I did see a car touch him.
So pit stops now. Lap number 27. Not everybody comes in. Blaney does pit. So too does Terry Labonte, Kurt Busch, Kenny Schrader pits, and a host of others. But those at the front of the pack, they elect to stay on the racetrack. Cautions and 5 retirees in the first 30 miles. 13 laps of caution already. Look at that. Got a little sun in turn 3. You saw that, folks, as the guys went by? A bright area in turn 3. The rest of the track basically under heavy cloud cover. And here goes Benson for the lead.
Jeremy moves up. Mark Martin takes the lower side now. And I will tell you one thing. Johnny Benson this year has been the surprise to everybody. Starting out with Daytona, leading near the end there. Everybody thought he might win the 500. He's been in contention a lot this year, and he has really helped Kenny Schrader's team as they merged and made one team out of the 2 teams there.
So Johnny Benson now the race leader. Bill Elliott giving us the ride around the track. Glenn and Ralph have made their way to the garage. Glenn, what you got?
A lot of fast and furious work going on Dale Jarrett's car right now, trying to get it ready to go back out into the battle. Dale, what happened out there?
I was committed to go to the outside of Ward going into 3. He got loose in the center of the corner. When he tried to correct it, he got up in front of me. I got into the back of him, and he turned around, and then he clipped me and got me into the wall. So, you know, just unfortunate. Nobody's fault. It just happened.
Okay, here's Ralph Shaheen with Ward Burton.
Ward, what happened from your perspective out there?
The car got real loose in the center. Just followed the car up the track, and Dale was probably committed to the outside. Just one of those things. I was trying to control my car. He was committed to going outside. We got together. Wasn't anything intentional. He did.
It started off awfully physical out there today. Are you surprised about that?
Don't like the way the tires feel. We're all chasing that, but that didn't have anything to do with this wreck. It's just the amount of work that we're dealing with, trying to get the car to handle like we used to is pretty tough.
Boy, Burton, who had his first DNF in some 38 races last week in New Hampshire. But those were history-making interviews right there. You rarely hear 2 drivers agree totally on what happened on the racetrack.
Eli, I'm watching Rick Mass there in the 14, and something must be wrong with the car because he is really going back in the field right now. He's dropped about 15 positions already.
He's dropped back to the 11th spot. Now he's all the way back to 15. Watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. there a lap or so ago. Wes Mass got on the low side of the racetrack, got loose, and Earnhardt Jr. pushed his way through. Up front, meanwhile, Mark Martin has made his way to the front. He takes over the top spot at lap number 36. So it has taken Martin 36 miles to go from 5th spot to the lead. And that'll do it. No, just kidding, but Let's see prevailing attitude down on pit road right now.
It will not do it because these three cars are chased by somebody that's had a lot of success here. Jeff Gordon is in the 4th place now and going towards the lead.
Good 5th place battle that Bill Elliott is watching for you.
Bill Elliott's still well banged up, broke his knee in an at-home accident. Then he got banged up last week at New Hampshire. I was in his truck on Friday. He was just lying there on the sofa with a great big old bag of ice on his left knee. And I asked him, I said, Bill, you a left foot breaker? He said, used to be. He's going to have to break with his right foot today.
Saw Jeremy Mayfield get around Johnny Benson for 2nd spot. And there again is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 10th.
Eli, I talked to Bill Elliott yesterday, and I said, you looked terrible last week when they took you out of the car. And he said, I look a lot worse than I feel because I have a great brace on that knee. And the doctors really made up a thing. When he's in the car, he actually, his left leg is stronger than his right.
Let's look at these numbers on Joe Nemechek's telemetry. A mile track last week, a mile track this week. How do these numbers compare 1 week to the next, buddy?
Well, if you remember last week with the 1-inch restrictor plate, about 79 to 8,000 was what most of the cars, every once in a while 8,100. You see 87, 8,900 down the straightaway.
There, yeah.
Yes. So quite a bit of RPM different and a little thing of 200 horsepower plus.
Just a little thing.
A little thing of a flat racetrack, and New Hampshire is virtually flat. You walk that place in the corners, walk the straightaways here, and I'm telling you, the straightaways here are banked more steeply than New Hampshire's turns.
Let me explain the difference. I kind of left that up in the air there. These cars have close to 800 horsepower now. They were down to 570, 540, right around in there, depending on who had the great setups.
Big old difference from 1 week to the next. 1 mile tracks clearly not all the same. Ricky Rudd in the 11th spot. There's Earnhardt and Tony Stewart having their own private little battle. They're running in 16th and 17th spot.
Earnhardt taking that high line and making it work. You can see the higher side, you keep great momentum up, and down the straightaway, not much of a contest. In the corner, though, well, not much of a contest there either.
You realize how close those two just got together? I mean, coming off the corner, there was a little tiny wiggle. They were about 2 inches apart in the middle of that wiggle.
Well, he's the intimidator, but I can promise you that 20 car there of Tony Stewart does not intimidate.
No,
so
he doesn't.
You can tell that. He fought right back and now has the spot over Earnhardt.
We were talking before about Rick Mast and the Conseco Pontiac still not up to speed. He's back to 20th spot, now 21st position. Mike Hogwood, you're around the A.J. Foyt pit. What's going on there?
He's been loose since the beginning of the race, and it's a problem that has gotten worse. It particularly got bad when Dale Earnhardt Jr. passed, and he lost a couple of positions quickly there. But it's really loose. He's having trouble really driving the race car, and it's costing him a lot of time on the track.
It's too bad, too, because Rick qualified in the top 10. As a matter of fact, he has started in the top 10 in 6 of the last 12 races here. He's always liked running Dover.
Now that team is coming together as well.
Caution. We have caution for NASCAR, allowing the teams to check their tires. NASCAR has just thrown the caution to allow the teams now to check their tires. Let's talk about the tire discussion here, fellas. We really have given it somewhat of short shrift, though we've heard the drivers mention it. What's been the storyline here this weekend?
Well, the storyline here really is that this is by far the toughest racetrack of all on the circuit on the right front tire. Going into the corners because of the configuration of the racetrack, as much as 3,700 pounds of pressure gets put on that tire. Well, one way to go around here really fast is to run without a lot of air pressure, put a lot of camber in that tire, which will give it a lot of speed, but it can also cause it to fail. So Goodyear has told the teams, do not run less than 3 degrees of camber, or more than 3 degrees of camber, rather. Right. Do not run less than 44 pounds of pressure. And Goodyear is absolutely convinced that the 4 failures we've seen here so far were all a result of either insufficient inflation or too much camber. They want to look at it to make sure they're right.
And the other thing, they brought a new tire here. The right sides are taller than the left side, meaning it turns easier getting in the corner, making it a little looser in the center part of the corner so you don't abuse that right front.
So now at lap number 46, the leaders and everybody else is coming in as well. Mark Martin, the race leader. This is the 9th straight Dover race that he has led, and everybody, with the exception of Dave Blaney, Ted Musgrave, Dave Marcus, and Darrell Waltrip, everybody else on pit lane. Mike Hogwood.
We're in Jeff Burton's pit. He's going to add a half pound of air to the right rear tire. 4 tires going on this car. Good pit stop in the works for the team of Jeff Burton, car 99, Roush Shaheen.
Johnny Benson is in. They're going to make a slight adjustment to this car to get the car handling just a little bit better in the center of the corner. Glenn?
Mark Martin is already down in the way. They changed 4 tires. They made a chassis adjustment, a half round of bite out of his car. It was a little bit tight. Same thing for Rusty Wallace down at this end.
You know, tires have been stories here a lot over the years. Remember when J.D. McDuffie, the late J.D., won the pole here about 22 years ago when he came out with McCreary tires and everybody else went with the Goodyears.
Eli, I tell you one thing. Jeff Gordon had a killer pit stop just then. He went in behind all the guys that were leading, and in that sequence there, he came out third as far as the way he was running on the racetrack. Actually picked up a spot coming out of the pits.
So we are under caution for the 4th time today. A chance to check over the Goodyear Eagles. Great crowd on hand as the field is getting set to get the 1 to go signal. We're a mile away. Dave Blaney, first time in his NASCAR Winston Cup career, first time ever, is leading an event.
Hi, Rusty Wallace, Dick Bergman at TNN. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Okay, just quickly, how is your car running?
Right now the car's running pretty good. I'm running on the tight side. We made a wedge adjustment just then and see what happens. We're going to cycle through a couple sets of tires here and see if it stays doing the same thing. If not, then we might pull the spring rubber out of the right front, make some adjustments. But right now it's okay.
Okay, good luck today.
Rusty Wallace kind enough to allow us to chat with him as he gets set to go back to work. Some of the folks on the move before the caution. Jeff Burton started in 21st, picked up 6 spots. He was running 15th. Others making their stops and moving up nicely. Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt. Watch what happens here. Bill Elliott's on Boyd on pit road. Even pit road.
Oh, wow.
Give you some problem. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
So much for depth perception.
Yeah, so if you don't speed up the service on that Big Mac, I'm just going to drive on through myself.
Middle of 3 and 4.
There you see the pit summary, and we are getting set to go back to green. Dave Blaney, the leader. The 01 Ted Musgrave is 2 laps down, trying to get one of them back if he can. Blaney not doing well with the gear shifting, has a problem, so Mark Martin zips right around him on the restart.
Yes, he has lost 3rd gear, and you can tell right there he's having a tremendous problem getting up to speed.
And Jeremy Mayfield got stuck in that whole thing, lost several positions. He is absolutely focused on finishing today. Indeed, his interview after winning the pole, he didn't talk much about how fast the car was. He talked about finish, finish, finish. Why? He's got 4 DNFs in a row, 4 races in a row where he hasn't finished.
There's a good second place battle right there. Rusty Wallace in the 2. The Exide colors for Jeff Burton. The DuPont machine for Jeff Gordon.
And that's
the 10 is Johnny Benson.
And that's typical for Jeff Gordon to always drop back on restarts because he starts out with the air pressure low in the tires until it gets stable. He does not push it down in the corner. And a lot of people say that the tire problems they have later on, they inflict on these tires in the first couple of laps while the air pressure is down and the car really leans over on the sidewalls.
Let's check in with Ralph on pit road.
James Ince is the crew chief for Johnny Benson. James, you've had a chance to look at those tires. How are they?
Right now, there's no problem at all. We're pretty happy with what we saw, so that's good. NASCAR did that with
So James Ince surveying the scene as Johnny Benson tries to make the move on Jeff Burton.
Boy, isn't Benson impressive?
What a great resurgence. Not that his career needed a jump start, but what some great opportunities now looking ahead to 2001 with the team Valvoline. Oh, what a great opportunity.
And he's one one of the few people out there that can absolutely take a race car and build it from the ground up.
Good point.
He was brought up in a race shop. He worked with his father, who is also a great race car driver. And Johnny Benson is exactly what you're looking for. Very intelligent, knows the race car, and you can see he has a fire for it.
There's another guy very intelligent that knows a race car. The fellow in that number 20, Tony Stewart, now worked his way up to 13th position. Stewart, uncharacteristically, starting in the back of the pack today, started in 27th spot. But remember how well Stewart has run here. He has led every one of the 3 races that he has run at Dover, Delaware. Won here in the spring with this same race car.
Rusty was good for about 4 or 5 laps, and he's starting to drop back just a little bit. Johnny Benson got by him. Now he's starting to walk up the racetrack. That means that he is not exactly balanced the way he wants it, but he'll work on that race car, and Robin Pemberton, before this day is over, will have it working.
Steve Park having a good day in the number 1 car. Park also started deep in the field. He started in the 28th spot. Right now, he's all the way up to 6th.
A lot of fellows just kind of taking their time.
Yep. Crashed last week at New Hampshire, Park did.
Yeah, but it's called momentum. He's won a race now. He knows he can, and he has great equipment. One thing about Dale Earnhardt Enterprises, they build great race cars as they've won a couple, 3 races already this year. As a matter of fact, everybody in that organization that drives for Dale Earnhardt has won 1 race or more this year.
There, Burton climbs the banking. He tries to keep that Ford wound up, but Mayfield and Nadeau both will get by as we ride with Bobby Labonte. He's in 10th, closing in. Look at those clouds up ahead, folks. A lot of threat of rain here in the Dover, Delaware area. Even though part of the track is in sunshine, there are some major league clouds surrounding us now, and everybody keeping one eye skyward and one eye on the track.
That was close.
That was close.
That was very close.
Needed both eyes on the track there.
Rusty's still not able to go down on the racetrack.
Now father and son, 16th and 17th, Earnhardt Jr. and Earnhardt.
Bet your Junior doesn't whack into the old man.
I'll tell you one thing. They race each other pretty hard, though, and one thing about it, I've talked to Dale Earnhardt, and he's proud of that boy there. Everything he's done. I mean, you can see it in Winner's Circle. I think one of the warmest feelings I've ever had doing a broadcast is when Dale Jr. won his first race in Texas.
But you know what? Any father would be proud of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is just a good, clean, swell young man, an enjoyable kid to be around, and all his success hasn't affected him one bit. He's just as nice and unassuming as he was before he started all this.
Now, those drivers are 6 6/10 seconds behind that man. That is Mark Martin. He is the race leader as the stopwatches continue to monitor the progress here at the Monster Mile. There is the race leader. Mark Martin continues to mow the field down. He's got 1 2/10 on Jeff Gordon. He's got 2 7/10 on Benson and Mayfield. 3.5 on Nadeau. 4.8 seconds on Sterling Marlin. And then back to this 11th place battle. Those fellows are now running 7 seconds behind the race leader Mark Martin as Ricky Rudd has a visitor calling. You can see that NASCAR scoring and timing rundown in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Brought to you by NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online.
Tony Stewart continues his march to the front. Coming into today, he had run 1,200 Winston Cup laps, led 466 of them. That's 39% of all the laps he has run here coming into today's race. Stewart led.
Ricky Rudd is in 11th. Stewart 10th. All of these teams using, as you see, basically the same groove. Back in 14th spot there, you've got 31 Skinner, 17 Matt Kenseth. Kenseth uncharacteristically out of the top 5 or 6.
And that's Rusty Wallace, 3 stories high now on this racetrack. He cannot hold her down. It goes right up the center of the corner, and he's running a racetrack no one else is using.
You know, it's amazing to think back to the days when Harry Gant, Richard Petty, Morgan Shepherd used to run that highest of high grooves and make it pay off.
Bias flat tires.
Yeah, and an asphalt
and no
racetrack,
power
too.
steering. You know, that really made a difference in the way you drive this racetrack. Of course, the blacktop itself, you got brake grip even on the high side, and when the car started losing grip on the bottom, you could no longer turn it on bias flat tire because the sidewalls are very flexible and you go up the racetrack.
Rusty Wallace is back in 13th, Glenn, and just kind of sitting there for a while.
Yeah, Eli, this set of tires that they put on the car, you know, Rusty told us on the radio that his car was very tight. Well, this set of tires, even though they made an adjustment trying to loosen it up, this set of tires is much tighter than the first set. So they're struggling right now. They want to see a caution. The one thing that the big problem that you have here at Dover is wearing that right front out. And when the car is pushing like his is right now, it wears that right front that much quicker. So they're pretty concerned about it. They need to make another bigger adjustment to Rusty's car.
But for the moment, he runs 13th. Good battle there. Skinner again in the 31. The 17, Kenseth. We watch it from Bill Elliott, who's running in 16th.
Skinner was really good in happy hour yesterday. Third quick. Kenseth, in the meanwhile, he's had a tough run here in the Winston Cup division, at least for this event. They qualified well in the back, and this morning they threw all kinds of stuff at it. 4 different springs, 4 different shocks, changed the track bar, changed the sway bar. Looks like it's better.
If memory serves, Skinner was in the top 3 in happy hour back here in June also.
He runs this racetrack well. He just hasn't finished as well as he might.
He's got a new door knocker there coming under him, though. Look at that 3. I tell you what, Dale Earnhardt, he drives every lap like he's going for the checkered flag, and he's got his car working fairly well now.
They were scratching their heads in the garage this morning. The 3 crew was trying to figure out what to do with that thing. They really didn't want to violate what Goodyear had told them. They did. They wanted to run more camber in the car, but they were afraid to do it. That car runs a lot better with more camber, but they said they were going to stick with what Goodyear told them, even if it wasn't the fastest setup that they knew they could use.
You know, maybe the fastest car in the racetrack now, well, second only to Mark Martin, is that guy, Sterling Marlin. He hasn't done that well in this car at Dover. As a matter of fact, his best finish here was 16th in this machine. But he started 38th. He's now up to 5th. He's cutting the second quickest laps of anybody right now.
I tell you, this is when he first started driving, and I watched him run race cars through the years. He is one of the most talented of all the people, and underestimated as far as what he can do on the racetrack. He's a winner, and I tell you, this team is coming around, and I would look for Sterling Marlin to win a lot more races than he's already won. But he is very consistent. He runs Darlington and here extremely well.
If you're a Darrell Waltrip fan, he is already 3 laps down and has come down pit road. Meanwhile, you see Skinner there and the move around Wallace. So Skinner is now 16th and Wallace is 17th. Up front, it is still Mark Martin, who, remember, as he does well, so too does Big Brother and Big Sister of America. Contributions from Valvoline to Big Brother and Big Sister in honor of Mark and his performance, now over $533,000. NASCAR.com, your 24-hour online NASCAR Garage Pass. All the stats, the stories, all the latest doings from the garage. Check it out. NASCAR online. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen, and Mike Hogwood. There's Robert Presley running in 22nd spot. There are the numbers from the telemetry. We saw 9,000 RPM earlier for Joe Nemechek. Let's see if Presley can approach those numbers here on the main straightaway. 86 is all.
8,600 all.
Now, if you think that the vibrations on this track can do you something, watch this.
Just watch that bolt right there. And you say you want to hang on the fence during the race. Watch what happens here. This is bigger than a 30-30 rifle bullet. Now watch what happens right here. Hello and goodbye. I'm out of here.
And when drivers say they cut a tire down, that can cut a tire down.
Yeah, that bolt is somewhere now.
Yep.
And what that bolt goes to, you have a brace that goes down to keep the windshield from going back into the race car, and that's the bolt that holds that brace on up on the top side. Really no danger, and they wouldn't have to black flag him or anything. That little bolt, they got 3 more going down the front of the windshield there.
Right, a little interesting look at doings there with Robert Presley. There is Mark Martin again. Most recently took over the lead at lap 51. He also had led from laps 36 through 47 before yielding during a sequence of pit stops.
It's amazing how well he runs here in the fall, isn't it? I mean, he runs pretty well in the springtime, but give him this race in September, and Mark Martin is just a rocket ship. Coming into today, he had led a total of 1,485 laps here at Dover. Of those, 78% were in this race. Only 22% of the laps led had been in the spring, and he's padding that right now.
He's pulled away from Jerry Nadeau by 2 seconds. 2 seconds on the Monster Mile. Looks like this. There's Nadeau going to the inside of the 66 of, excuse me, the 36 of Kenny Schrader.
Eli, I'm not positive he's actually pulling away. He's been way back in the field, and he's had to get by a bunch of race cars. Jerry Nadeau at the moment just seems about, well, I'm looking at the computer, almost as good as Mark Martin, but not quite. But he has moved his way past Jeff Gordon to take over second spot.
You know, Hog, it's been nice watching Nadeau develop this season, and actually over the last year or so, watching this guy come into his own as a major league driver.
They had such a great run going last week, Eli, and the crew has been pumped up all week. As a matter of fact, Tony Furr has been telling Jerry Nadeau over the radio that he's 2 to 3 tenths quicker than the leader, and to go on and go get him. So this is a team that is really pumped up right now.
Following in the tire tracks of John Andretti.
You know, I'm wondering how good Tony Furr is, because every time he's been a crew chief for somebody, they've won races. When he was with Cale Yarborough, they won races. And when he got with this car, he's turned this program around for the 25 there for Hendricks Motorsport. And this kid here, tremendous talent.
I'm going to tell you what, this kid is on the gas, too. That's one of the things that I really like about him. There is no timidity about this guy. He is absolutely as flat on the floor as he can be. Trouble up in turn 3.
Caution in turn 3 as one car, Dave Blaney, goes high and rides the wall all the way around. So caution for the 5th time, lap number 98, as Dave Blaney shears off the right side of the Amoco Pontiac as he went up the banking in turn number 3.
And the place that happened, you would have to say that the right front probably got cut down as he entered the corner up there, because tremendous amount of damage to the right front corner, but the tire itself is just shredded.
I wonder if he found that bolt.
Take a look again. Look up the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
There he goes. You see no steering whatsoever.
Yeah, nobody was around him clearly. It just went away, and that's indicative of a right front tire that goes down and you lose the ability to steer. So the 5th caution of the day. You see Blaney moving around. Clearly he is okay. And a tough way for the afternoon to wrap up. So the attrition list now has Mike Bliss on it, along with Scott Pruitt, Carl Long, Dale Jarrett still in the garage, Ward Burton, and now Dave Blaney. Some pretty significant names in the garage, and now pit stops. These stops will be at lap number 100. Lap number 100 as Mark Martin and Nadeau, Mayfield, and the rest all come down the pit lane. Mike Hogwood.
Well, we're in Jeff Gordon's pit. He had radioed in a few laps before that his car had developed a bad push. So they are going to try to make a wedge adjustment on the car. Also an air pressure adjustment coming around to the left side. Todd Gant, Shane Church are the tire changers. Good time pit stop underway for Jeff Gordon here in this caution, and he hopes he's made the adjustments that will enable him to get back back and challenge for the lead. Ralph Shaheen.
Ricky Rudd is in. They're changing 4 tires and putting fuel in. Norman Contribution has already made a chassis adjustment on the rear end of the car. But Jared?
Oh, problems on Mark Martin. They had a lug nut jammed in the air gun on the left front. Everything went fine on the right side, but he lost a ton of track position. They beat the air gun on the ground and finally break that lug nut loose. Tough break. They had a great stop going, but he is going to lose a lot of track position, guys.
The least little bobbles.
Eli, it's not always what happens on the racetrack. You can lose the race just as well in the pits. And poor Mark, I tell you, he's had his share of that this year as far as pit stops not being up to par when they come in sometimes.
Let's take a look at this pit stop again and analyze it just a bit further.
Sean Parker going over the wall. He does the rear tires. Far so good. Pick up the tires now, bring them around. Roll them on the outside. Everything's fine. Parker's got the rear off. Rear's on. Here's the trouble on the left front. They can't get it. See him banging that wrench on the ground, trying to get it to work. So late getting the left front tire on.
That was not the changer's fault. What happens, they have a spring load up inside of the actual bolt that takes that off, and it was just hung up in there, and he couldn't get it out of the gun.
On the concrete of Dover Downs. Some big-time numbers right there. So caution because of Dave Blaney's problems. And remember, he had an onboard camera. Here's what it looked like to him.
Hi, Jeff Burton, family van man for LA West Luxury Vehicles, the only choice of the Burton family.
LA West Luxury Vehicles, available nationwide from select Ford dealers. Call us at 1-800-786-VANS. Communications provided by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide. Call us today at 1-800-669-1522 for all your two-way needs for race teams and scanners and headsets for the fans. And by Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, kart, IRL, NHRA, ASA, and World of Outlaws. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer and motor coach needs at 800-800-1230.
Well, we thank you for that sign. Been our pleasure over the last decade. There's Dave Blaney in the garage area. And again, listen into what happens. Listen up. And you can see the tires just coming through that sheet metal. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace backslid to 27th. As soon as we go green here, we're going to double check in and see what happened to Rusty during his pit stop as Jeremy Mayfield takes him back to green.
This ought to be pretty exciting as they go down the back straightaway. Those are 3 young Turks there that don't mind standing on the throttle that are leading right now. As Nadeau looks to the bottom, Mayfield goes right up the racetrack, and here comes Tony Stewart.
So Jerry Nadeau will grab the top spot here. He has never led here at Dover Downs International in the 4 events that he has run here, but now he does show the way, taking over the top spot. Matter of fact, Jerry Nadeau has never finished better than 16th here at Dover Downs in Delaware.
Well, I'll tell you, if the truth be known, Jerry Nadeau has had trouble crashing at Dover Downs. He's crashed either in practice or the race itself. Every time he's been here, this is his 5th start. Like I said, he's a guy on the gas, and it takes a while for a guy on the gas to get real fast at a racetrack without having problems.
Everybody's sorting themselves out after the restart. Sterling Marlin in the 40. The 99 is Jeff Burton. They're running 4th and 5th, respectively.
Okay, the air pressures are up again. And when we say the air pressure, what they do, they drop it 4 or 5 pounds, and as they run along, they'll come up the pressure that you want. Now you see Mayfield going by Tony Stewart just a second ago. Could not do that with the tire pressure down.
That was for 2nd place here at lap number 107. Jerry Nadeau just ahead of them. He is the race leader. This is the 6th race of the year that Nadeau has led. The most recent was the Brickyard 400, where he led 11 laps in Indianapolis.
Never won a Winston Cup points race, Jerry Nadeau. He's gonna, maybe today. Never has so far.
Bobby Labonte running in 7th.
And you see this tape here, that part kind of fluttering on top. They use tear-off sheets on the windshields to clean them, and that was part of the tape there, where they grab it and pull it off, and it makes the windshield clean again. They'd have about 4 or 5 of those tear-off sheets they use during the race.
Now those are like little handles, those pieces of tape are, to help the crew members just grab hold and yank that sheet of film off.
Jeff Gordon having a good day today in the number 24 car. Remember, it was just a year ago this race that Ray Evernham was his crew chief for the last time, and they were going through all that stuff. Is Evernham staying or going? There's a lead change.
Jeremy Mayfield cuts to the inside of Jerry Nadeau, so they'll swap it around again at lap number 111. Jeremy Mayfield back up front. Now Mayfield's teammate Rusty Wallace, there he is. Glenn, we had mentioned Rusty pitted, came out in 25th spot. What in the world happened down there?
Eli, they did a 30,000-mile tune-up on the car while he was in there that time. It was about equivalent to that. Seriously, they took spring rubbers out of both front tires. The car was pushing so bad out of both the right and the left front of the car to try to soften the nose up to get the car to turn. They also made a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment. They did everything they could to try to free that car up. They decided to gamble, roll the dice right then, make all the changes to see if that wouldn't help Rusty be able to keep the car down on the racetrack. We're going to go down to Jeremy's pits now because they are flying.
But Rusty Wallace right there in the 2, that is the car he calls Flash. It's the same car that won the pole and the race at Bristol, as we had talked about on the pre-race show. And that was the only outing of the year for that car.
You're exactly right. Brand new car, took it out there, won the race, decided to bring it up here. It's what they call a concrete car. Good battle for second as Tony Stewart takes it over. I was going to explain, they build that race car for this type of racetrack. Less flex in the chassis itself, making it a stiffer thing so you can control the 4 springs and the spring that the tire itself makes.
You know, as a matter of fact, Larry McReynolds spent some time talking to us earlier in the week about chassis adjustments and all the teams can do. We'll keep the live action on the screen while you also get a chance to listen to Larry.
Now, once the race starts, NASCAR says we cannot change the coil springs in the car, but we can adjust the rate of the spring. How we do that is by using a spring rubber. You put the rubber in, it increases the rate of the spring. Pull the rubber out under a pit stop, and you decrease the rate of the spring. Now, depending on the thickness or length of your spring rubber, you can change the rate of the rear spring 10 to 25 pounds, the rate of the front spring up to 200 pounds. This is just another adjustment that crews have learned to use to make their car perform better during the race.
Buddy, sometimes you laugh at me when I ask you how'd you do things when you raced. I don't want to, I'm not trying to talk about any age situation, but how did all these fancy compensations, now spring rubbers weren't a big thing when you were in your Hall of Fame racing days.
No, and the cars didn't handle it. Look at this for the lead right now. Tony Stewart right on the bottom. That car is hooked up. He is not moving whatsoever. We've watched this in the past here. Tony Stewart, he's very regimented as the way he drives in the corner, and he and his crew chief have, if you ever watch him run, he runs about half a lane lower than anyone else can run. Jeremy Mayfield was just behind him, watched him for a lap and said, you know, I'm going to try that too. So he went very low that time also.
You were talking about those chassis adjustments as well, as you see Mayfield now trying to come right back for the lead again on Stewart.
Well, while we're watching these guys dice it out, and I mean it's a good race now, Jeremy Mayfield, he figured it out on the bottom, and you see Tony Stewart now had to give way there getting in the corner. And that brought, of course, Jerry Nadeau in third place right up on the back of the 2 of them. As they raced side by side, he had the better line. Now Tony Stewart looked like, well, I've got a little handling problem.
Yep.
Now, to get back to the, I'm very lucky. I still test cars, so I know about the spring rubbers, the rates that they do, and they even have a hard and soft rubber that they put in the springs to make them harder, give them a little more tension. And it's gotten so technical now that you actually set the cars up on test programs with computers and all, and you get all that worked out. But let me tell you, that's an art when you know exactly how much of the spring rubber to pull out to make that spring work.
While Jeremy Mayfield leads, there's Dale Jarrett's car in the garage. He is now 96 laps down, but looks like he's about set to come back. Began at 12:37 this afternoon. Just 3 laps later, Jeff Burton and Mike Bliss went for the same real estate. Bliss comes out the loser. Then just a handful of laps later, lap number 11, Scott Pruitt goes to the spin. Then it was Dale Jarrett and Ward Burton, lap number 26, as Ward Burton's car got loose. Dave Blaney, lap 98. And now we are under caution again. This spin by Kevin LePage and the subsequent fire from the FamilyClick.com car. LePage has already climbed from his Ford Taurus. He is okay, but Buddy, he had to go out the other way.
You have to go out the right side because he's right up against the retaining wall there. No way to get out on the driver's side. He was thinking very clearly. You can see him running and looking back there. He had to get out there and come out the right window, but he was thinking the whole time, what do I do?
The leaders pitted at lap number 122, and now Dale Earnhardt is back in at lap number 124, and you see a crew guy underneath the car. Mike, what's the problem down there?
They're going to remove the rubber from the right rear of the car right now. We also understand that they had some radio problems and had to swap out the radio, which caused the first stop to be a little bit lengthy, but some major adjustments on the number 3 car.
So Dale Earnhardt in for a couple of stops here at laps 122 and 124. Cleanup continues after Kevin LePage's problems. We are back to Dover Downs in a moment. Back to the green. Lap 127. Dale Jarrett is back on the racetrack. He is 100 laps down, but he came in 3rd in points.
Green, green, green.
174 markers behind Bobby Labonte. He's got to get whatever points he can. So Jarrett is back out there as Jeremy Mayfield takes them back to turn number 1.
Jeremy's usually not all that quick on restarts, but this time he gets a great start as they head down the back straightaway.
There's who did what. Jeff Burton picking up a couple of spots. Bobby Labonte losing 4. Let's run through the pits real quickly and get an update on all those stops. Mike Hogwood, what you got?
Tony Stewart was having problems before the stop. When he would lead, he would get real loose, so he'd have to drop back and follow someone. So they took 2 rounds out of the right rear, still trying to find the right combination with these tires. Ralph Shaheen?
Well, for Jerry Nadeau, they're very pleased with the Henley of this car. They just took on tires and a little fuel and clicked off a 15.6-second stop. This crew is really on their game today. Glenn?
Well, good stuff for the leader, Jeremy Mayfield, as well, guys. 15.8 seconds, 4 tires, fuel, absolutely no changes. Jeremy loves the car, and they love the way it's running. He might be hard to handle today.
So that's what happened on the pit stop. So we're run on laps 101, 102, and then again laps 122 and 124. So you're up to speed right now.
Well, Eli, we were talking about what pit stops really mean to people, and we watched Mark Martin lead this race, pull away, get a great run on everybody. Got a little bit off on one pit stop, and he's back in the pack right now and really not making a run at anybody because he's hung up in traffic that's not going as fast as the leaders.
Buddy, so many of our viewers are long-time NASCAR viewers, but there are also so many newcomers to these telecasts. Let's follow up on what we were talking about those spring rubbers before. We understand the science of taking them in, putting them out, and changing the spring rate. What does that mean in English? How does that truly affect the performance of the race car?
Okay, when you take it out, you reduce the amount of spring you have, letting the car roll over on that corner, put more pressure on the tire there, get better grip. If the back end's hanging out, you certainly don't want it stiffer. You want to soften it up so it'll actually get down and hold the racetrack better.
There you see the battle for the lead. Can Jeff Burton hang on? Not that time.
Been a good race so
they
far.
will give him credit for leading at the stripe. So lap 120 through 132 will be Mayfield. If you're keeping tabs at home, Jeff Burton will lead at lap 133 and pick up his 5 bonus points.
Yeah, and he took the lead that time by just driving harder in the center part of the corner and getting a better run up out of the corner than Mayfield. As Mayfield starts to slide up the racetrack right now, Nadu takes over second.
Hey, Dick, remember what we talked about?
Yep, lead changes.
Yeah,
lots of them.
During the opening of our show, we talked about lead changes.
Yeah, and I started to say this has been a really, really good race. You know, you think about it, the lead on this thing has been contested virtually the whole time, with the single exception of Mark Martin when he ran off and led those few laps and put some distance between himself and everybody else. But other than that, this has been an exceptionally competitive race.
That's 5th place, swapping around right there. Jeff Gordon grabbing it away from Sterling Marlin. Gordon in that 24, Marlin in the silver number 40.
And Mark Martin finally battles his way back up there. Now he's joining in. And the first 10 cars right now are running nose to tail. You're exactly right, Dick. They have their game plan on right now. These guys are going at it. And I don't see anybody with a great advantage other than Jeff Burton right now. He's kind of out there running a perfect line around the racetrack as they race behind him.
Well, I think one of the reasons that they're running as hard as they are is because we do have the overcast sky, and this thing could be over prematurely. So we're not that far away. We're on lap 136 right now of 400. They don't have to go much further, and this thing is in the book. So it's time to stand on the gas.
And the clouds really are rolling in heavier now than they have all day. There goes second place. Mayfield grabs it away from Nadu.
And Nadu spewing some fuel out of the overflow in the left rear corner of that car. Just caught a glimpse of it in that shot. Let's see if he does it again.
There's the spread of 1 1/10 seconds. Burton back to Mayfield. He led every lap last week in New Hampshire. He's dominating again today. On TNN, you will see a ton of fury unleashed, and the rider experiences the longest 8 seconds in sports. It's PBR Championship bull riding from Reno, Nevada. That's tonight at 9 Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN. Jeff Burton is the race leader. He has captivated the attention of most everybody here at Dover Downs International Speedway today, on the heels of his performance last weekend at New Hampshire. Jeremy Mayfield second, Jerry Nadu third. They're all tied together within a second of each other.
And Jeremy Mayfield is closing down just a little bit. He ran the last lap just a little bit quicker than the leader. So Jeremy's car good after he runs 3 or 4 laps and gets the air pressures up after restart. And then something else. That's no bull.
Buddy's heading right to Reno for the PBR as soon as we get done. Look at Dale Jr. He's taking a higher run through the corners. Just been watching that here of late. Running in 11th, so it's not hurting him all that much.
Lee Petty told me one time, either you're right and everybody else is wrong, or you better work on the car.
Well, Jeff Burton's running a high line, too, and it's working for him. He's leading the race. His line's not nearly as high as Junior's is, but it's working. And that's one of the things that's neat about this racetrack. The line moves around.
And, Ralph, you got to give the car the lead. I mean, if it wants to go somewhere, you might as well go with it.
As you do, Eli. You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the folks from People Magazine were here at Dover this weekend shooting pictures of Dale for an upcoming article about sexiest athletes. And Tony Uri Sr. was talking to his driver about that, and Dale said that one of the questions they asked him was about how he felt being and the term is, hottie. And Tony Uri Sr. said, hottie? Well, what did you say? And Dale said, he told him, well, I don't like talking about whether or not I'm a hottie because that tends to ruin your hottie status.
You wouldn't want to lose that.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, sometimes. Anyway, it does look like the lower part of the racetrack is quicker right now because Jeremy Mayfield is definitely closing down. Even though you see the 99 running higher on the racetrack,
trouble for Sterling.
Not as quick.
Buddy trouble for Sterling Marlin. He had been running so very well before, and all of a sudden he's off the pace. Let's go to his pit.
Well, Sterling Marlin's just called in and says he thinks the engine's gone. Blown engine for the 40, Sterling Marlin. What a tough break. He was having a great day.
No question about it. You can see the smoke behind the car there. That normally says the engine's expired and we're going to the garage.
So he will join Mike Bliss, Scott Pruitt, Carl Long, Ward Burton, Dave Blaney, and Kevin LePage. They are all in the garage. Sterling was running 6th when the engine went pop. And the attrition list now grows by 1.
Jeff Burton had some interesting conversation this week with the media here at Dover. He said that early in the year he was right on. The crew was right on, and indeed they were running very well for the first 3 races of year 2000. He said then something happened and he just lost the feel of the race car. He blamed it on his inability to feel the new generation tire, and he said he just didn't feel good about it. Couldn't find the edge, couldn't tell the crew what was wrong with the car so they could adjust it, and he worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and he had a big smile on his face, and he said, I can feel it now, and I guess he can.
Robert Presley, he's running in 22nd position right now, still on the lead lap. And again, to compare his RPM numbers to the 9,000 we saw from Joe Nemechek earlier. 8,700, we saw that for just a tick of the clock.
He's running way upstairs.
And the other thing I will tell you that RPM, sometimes people can get away with running more gear, turning more RPM than other drivers. That you gear the car to the driver more than you do anything else.
Just joining us, this race started off slowly with 3 caution flags within the first 26 miles. We have now had 6 cautions. We gave you the attrition list moments ago. It's starting to grow fairly significantly. We've had a hassle full of lead changes involving Jeremy Mayfield, Johnny Benson, Mark Martin, Dave Blaney, Jerry Nadeau, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, all having led at one time or another during the MBNA.com 400.
Rusty Wallace in the 2 car currently running in 14th spot. After that long pit stop on lap 101, he was 29th. So apparently they've got the car dialed in better than it was before, and Rusty's gaining.
They have confirmed from the garage area that Sterling Marlin is done for the day. Indeed, the engine problems terminal. He told you Dale Jarrett. There he comes right at you now. 100 laps down. 99 to be exact.
Boy, is that car beat up. I was watching those guys yesterday working on that thing. They had the finest instruments you could imagine, trying to dial in the exact alignment of the tires and wheels. And now I think if they're within an inch or two, it's probably pretty good.
Now all the top point fellas, look at them right there. Jeff Burton's the man in the catbird seat right now. Not only is he leading the race, he is the only one to pick up bonus points so far for leading a lap.
Drew just told Burton that his car is better in 1 and 2, and he is better in 3 and 4. Interesting conversation from Jeff Burton's radio.
Bobby Labonte, he is now running 11 seconds behind the race leader. There's Bobby coming off turn number 4.
A green car.
And the points as they run at this moment. Jeff Burton would tighten things up. But again, we've still got 240 laps to go. So there's plenty of racing yet to unfold here at Dover today.
And a bunch of races to go after this as well. Interesting point chase this year. It'll probably down to the very tail end, as it usually does in Winston Cup.
Of course, the other big guy in the points picture, Jeff Burton. He is leading right now by 9/10 of a second over Jeremy Mayfield, Jerry Nadeau, Tony Stewart, and Jeff Gordon. The sun popping out again through the heavy overcast. We're back in a moment. The chance to remind you about wrenchhead.com. With millions of brand name auto parts and accessories to choose from, it is easy to prove you're a wrench head. Are you a wrench head?
That would be me.
Wrenchhead.com, parts online all the time. Jeff Burton by 0.6 of a second has the race lead, just putting the 29th place runner John Andretti a lap down. Then you've got Mayfield and Nadeau, Tony Stewart and Mark Martin. You'll see Jeff Gordon right there. Now, here comes the DeWalt car. That is Matt Kenseth. We told you in the opening of our telecast today that he's finished 6th or better in all 3 of his NASCAR Winston Cup starts here at Dover. That is the same car also that he drove to a 5th place run at Pocono back in July as Mayfield swings around Burton. And another new leader here at the Monster Mile. Burton will lead from 135 to 170. Mayfield will take over at lap 171.
And a dramatic difference in the line taken by those two drivers. Mayfield in the 12 is running right on the bottom, and you see it here. Burton in the 99 is upstairs, and he just radioed to his crew. Burton did, I'm running really hard. His crew said, you're the man. In other words, take care of the right front tire and don't push the car any further than it wants to go.
And remember Mayfield there, the race leader, folks. That Mobil 1 Taurus was the best car here at Dover in June, you might remember, pushing his way through the field to the front before the engine failed.
Well, Jeremy Mayfield's had some great runs. He dominated Darlington, got in the mix up there with Dave Marcus coming off turn 4, had a great lead there. Mayfield just needs a little bit of racing luck because he certainly got his act together as far as running hard.
From Bill Elliott's car, looking forward to Matt Kenseth on the track, and there you see the rookie summary. Again, Kenseth and Earnhardt up front, running 7th and 9th respectively. You know, you're confident. You show up at a racetrack. You know you can win in the NASCAR Busch Series. You do well in Winston Cup. It's such a big, big change to be able to show up with that kind of confidence. And of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has confidence everywhere he shows up.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now is using you could see the line he's running around the racetrack there. Very, very high. But what's happened now is so many cars are running right around the base of the racetrack that it's actually getting probably a little bit slick down on the very low part of the racetrack. And that's a cleaner part of the racetrack up there. You can see by the colors there, the bottom is really rubbered in now.
You just saw Jeff Burton in the 99 reassume the lead at lap 174.
Here comes Nadeau on the bottom.
As Mayfield went up the banking, it opens the inside groove. So Jerry Nadeau, who led from laps 106 through 111, is now in 2nd place.
Well, pick your lane. High and low are both working here.
You know, we've talked before about sometimes you give the car the lead, buddy, and you follow it. When do you have to start forcing the issue as Nadeau goes powering back to the front?
Just like right there. I guarantee you Jeff Burton's wanting to know what he found, and he'll look his line over just a little bit as he goes upstairs there. Nadeau found something just a second ago, whether his car was that much dominant, and he just waited until the tires and everything, and the racetrack came to that setup that they're running right now. But that was pretty impressive. He ran those guys down, just went by them in one corner.
And Jeff Burton has just radioed to his crew and said, I am not going to abuse that right front tire. His crew has radioed back. Go ahead. You know what you're doing. Upstairs is more gentle, more caring on that right front tire than the bottom, and he will have a better chance of having that right front tire live upstairs than if he were running on the bottom.
Well, the impressive part of the 99 car is he can run up there, and if he gets in traffic, he can run around the bottom of the racetrack. So now he has the option of picking a line that his car runs the best on.
We've not talked about Kurt Busch much today. Taking over from Chad Little in that John Deere number 97, running in 18th place. Former champion of the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour. Of course, graduating to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And he's using his head here today. Didn't know exactly what to expect in Winston Cup. It was racing, yes, and on a track he knew, yes, but it was also something kind of different. And he said, I'm just going to kind of feel my way through and take it easy. And he's staying out of trouble running 18th.
Well, I asked him what he was going to do today, and he said, Jack said, finish the race.
Yeah.
And he knows he's got to pay attention to Jack Roush, his team owner, the man in the straw hat, because that's really good advice. This is indeed Busch's first Winston Cup race, and he's had an up-and-down weekend for sure in the Craftsman Truck Series with about just a few seconds literally to go on Friday for happy hour, Thursday night rather, for happy hour. Tire let go, he hit the wall in his primary truck, wound up in a backup truck, started dead last in the field, wound up winning the thing. And of course last night in happy hour he hit the wall with his car.
A three-time winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But here at Dover today, the Jeff Gordon fans wait to see their guy move from 6th to the front. We're back at Dover Downs watching some good racing, just like you folks at Phoenix International Raceway. We're going to see some great racing coming up in November. And PIR still has some outstanding tickets left for their NASCAR weekend.
Oh, trouble. Burton in the wall.
Jeff Burton, problems in the Exide Ford, running in second place at lap number 185.
Eli, the right front just went away, and he went up and tagged the wall very, very hard. And I was talking to these guys. There's part of the tire going down in the corner there.
So Jeff Burton with problems. Caution on the speedway, 7th time today. Lap 186. You see Jeff Burton having already taken his helmet off and leaves the Exide Ford to smolder. Mike Hogwood.
Well, it's a blown right front tire and a lot of disappointment here in the Exide pit as they get ready to take the war wagon back to the garage and see what repairs can be made, if any, to get him back out and stay and get some points here today. But boy, there's just a lot of disgust down here in the pit area that the tire blew, hit the wall. It happens, but doesn't help the feelings down here nonetheless.
Watching a championship go up in smoke right there.
Jeff Burton, 168 points behind Bobby Labonte. That was a major, major blow. Pit stops. Ralph, you're first at lap 187.
And here comes Jerry Nadeau. Very, very happy with this race car. He's having to make just the first adjustment of the day. They're going to go half a pound on the air pressure down on the left side of the car. That is all they're going to do to the number 25. Very happy here, Glenn Jarrett.
And we're down in Jeremy Mayfield's pit. They're going to do 4 tires. Made a slight chassis adjustment. That's the first time they have really touched this car all day. The car got just a little bit off late in that run right now. Nadeau beats him out. It looks like Jeremy may have been second. However, Mark Martin in the number 6 has a problem. The shifter broke off in his car. So they're working on that right now. They've got the left side up, working up under the car, trying to get the car in gear. Big problem for Mark Martin.
Oh, and now the car teetering and tottering there. You see the jack stands being put in place. All sorts of problems for the Valvoline Cummins Ford.
And the way he's inching out of there, he does not have the shifter fixed yet. You can tell it's just barely creeping out of the pit stall.
Wow, what a turn of events. There's Jerry Nadeau. Let's go back to Ralph.
Eli, problems for Jerry Nadeau. They got very, very lucky. The right front tire right there that you're looking at, you can see the chunk of rubber that has disappeared out of that right front tire. You can see where it is worn all the way down to the cords on the tire. So they got very lucky that they were able to pit at the time that they did. Those kinds of lucky breaks sometimes are what we see that makes a difference between winning and losing a race. Having all that luck fall your way.
So Nadeau, Mayfield, Stewart, Gordon, and Park. That is the running order here under caution. And as we go to a commercial break, how about time for a Citgo You Know Me? I cut my racing teeth on the short tracks of Wisconsin. I've got 10 career NASCAR Busch Series victories. I got my first Winston Cup start right here at Dover Downs International Speedway. You know me. And we will be back to introduce you to one of NASCAR's newest superstars right after this word from Citgo. You know me. I'm Matt Kenseth. I got my first career NASCAR Winston Cup victory in this year's Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. I am Matt Kenseth, driver of the DeWalt Ford Taurus. I dare say most of you folks knew that out there. We are under caution for the 7th time. Jerry Nadeau now the race leader. And remember, Mark Martin has all sorts of problems, and here he comes back down the pit lane again. He was running 5th before Jeff Burton crashed, and he has just made his pit stop moments ago. He came down, and the crew finds out that he's got all sorts of problems. The car teetering and tottering, and Glenn, what they finally find, did the shifter itself break off or something else?
Eli, it's one of the rods. If you can see that transmission, if we can show my camera right now, they've got another Jericho transmission out here. They're taking a rod off of it to try to take one off of here and put it onto the car. One of those aluminum rods that runs from the shifter to the transmission itself actually broke in half. So Mark couldn't change gears at all. All they could do was to put the car physically in 4th or high gear and get him out of here. Now they're trying to replace the rod so that he can change gears. He's down and away. I think that he'll be back. We stalled the car. It's awfully tough to take off in high gear. He stalled it once more. Sean Parker has the rod now. One of the guys has the rod in his hand that has broken in two. So big problems for Mark Martin. Jimmy Finnig is down here directing things, trying to get a rod off of this thing so they can replace the one that broke. But, man, I tell you, unless you're involved in an accident, there's a big impact. I've never seen this happen.
Now, is this likely a part problem, or could this be something that was done by a missed shift or something like that?
Well, there's a rod end on each end of that thing, and those rod ends are threaded, and the bar itself is threaded, so there are a lot of things that can go wrong. There's also a couple of little flat plates. One of those could break, but I've never seen one of those rods fail, Eli. He may well have picked up a piece of debris and caused it to fail.
And also a Carter key that goes in that thing. So there's so many things that can go wrong with shifting.
The field had gotten the 1-to-go signal, but there is a lot of speedy dry on the track from where they took care of Jeff Burton's car to the lights are on again. We're staying under caution. Hey, folks, we've got more racing for you next Sunday here on TNN. The ASA drivers go to Indiana for 400 grueling laps at the famed Winchester Speedway. The Winchester 400 next Sunday at 2 Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN Sports. We're about a half lap away from going back to green. We're wrapping up the cleanup after the Jeff Burton problems again after he lost the right front tire. And here is the result. Ow. Pops that wall up there in the corner. And then, of course, Mark Martin has the problem with the transmission, the broken rod in the transmission. Stick around this business long enough, you'll see everything. One day they'll tell me that some guy was driving along and all of a sudden his seat started sinking in the race car.
That would be me.
How did that happen? You just riding along?
Well, no, I sit right on the floorboard. The floorboard, the welding came out of it in the center of the seat. Me weighing 2 pounds like I do. I was pressing down the center part of the seat, and I got lower and lower. Pretty soon, I was down there about 4'8" in that car. You know?
Bizarre.
Let me guess, you didn't slow down any.
No.
I knew it.
Won the race by 8 laps.
No.
Jerry Nadeau, the race leader here on the restart. Bright sunshine now. The clouds parting for the moment. The weatherman advised us that though there is heavy cloud cover in most of the area, there is no rain to speak of, and certainly that's good. Hey, Glenn, tell us about that broken part there.
Take a look here, Eli. I've got it right here in my hand. This bracket right here is attached to the shifter. This rod runs to the transmission to change the gears. You can see right on the end of it, it just snapped right in half. You heard Dick say it a couple times. We've never seen anything like this. There's all scratching their heads down here, too. I showed it to Jack Rouse. He just shook his head. They can't believe that this happened.
Eli, the reason nobody can believe it is there's no pressure on that particular piece there. That's just, I don't know, a bad piece of metal or something.
Piece of part fatigue for some reason or what have you. Who knows?
It'll be in the metallurgist tomorrow morning. You can be guaranteed of that.
Doubt.
They'll find out what happened, and it will never happen again.
3 laps shy of halfway here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Bobby Labonte He's the point leader. He's out there cruising along in 8th spot right now as he ride with Bill Elliott and look back towards Bobby Labonte.
Talking about Bobby Labonte, he is very famous for doing just what he's doing right now, not abusing the car. He was kind of concerned, as many people were, as to what the tire wear was going to be today. And every time he stops, he moves up about 3 or 4 spots. So he's going to be a contender before the day's out.
Made his NASCAR Winston Cup debut here at Dover Downs in 1991. It'll be halfway next time by for Jerry Nadeau. And this will be an official race. There are the big guys in the points. And if Bobby Labonte just hangs in there, this will be a major league gainer for him with the problems for Burton and Jarrett. Nadeau and Mayfield. Ralph, does Nadeau like the car the way it is now?
Well, Jerry Nadeau was a little concerned about those tires. They're happy they just picked up the halfway money. Tony Furr is the crew chief. Tony, we want to check with you about those tires. We saw the chunk come out of that right front. He doesn't want to talk about tires, apparently. They put about 60 laps on those tires.
So Tony looking on. And monitoring the situation as Mayfield is the race leader now.
And it's easy to see what he's going to do. He's going to follow Mayfield, let him set the pace, and try to be easy on those tires in the first part of this run, because you can actually abuse the tire right now as much as later on in the run. You can create your own problem.
From Mayfield, the leader, if you're looking for Dale Earnhardt Jr., there he is, along with Kenseth and Rusty Wallace. They are 5 6/10 seconds behind Mayfield, the leader.
Yep, the 2 hot rookies running together there, both looking for the same position. The cagey veteran right behind them. Junior's run upstairs all day.
Yeah, he has.
All day.
What he did is he found the line, and of course he's won a couple of races here in Busch Grand National, so he knows the racetrack very well. And yesterday Matt Kenseth won here in Busch Grand National, and Rusty is a very talented, and all 3 of them are running a different way around the racetrack here.
Watch the lines here from overhead.
Rusty's kind of in the middle, Kenseth on the bottom, and of course the 8 car there, Dale Earnhardt Jr., a little bit high on the racetrack, but he's trying to get a lot of grip there. But I think right now the lower part of the racetrack is a little bit quicker. As you see Kenseth just take the spot away there.
Junior started 6th here in June and finished 10th. Loses 2 spots in that exchange.
Park in that yellow Pennzoil car, currently running in 6th spot.
Steve Park ahead of Gordon and Bill Elliott.
Just behind them, Bobby Labonte, Ricky Rudd. These guys are all right now, it's kind of like running a mile. Everybody's kind of pacing themselves right now, except for Ricky Rudd. He just goes by Bobby Labonte down into turn 1 there. Car's sticking very, very well.
His 601st consecutive start for Ricky Rudd.
He's hungry, too. I mean, he thought by now he was going to win. The whole Yates gang thought he was going to win. His fans thought he was going to win, and he's on a roll. The car has been running well. Eli, you talked about a sequence of top 10 finishes. Indeed, he's had them, and in that, he's had a 2nd, he's had a 3rd, and this is his best racetrack. 4 wins here. Nobody who's running in today's race has won more than him, although the guy right behind him, that fella Elliott, he's also got 4 wins here at Dover.
And we're riding with Bill Elliott right now. He's in 8th place on the back straightaway now here at the Dover Downs International Speedway.
Eli, you can see a little give and take there. The 24, Jeff Gordon, when Ricky Rudd started moving out on the straightaway there, he just gave him room, let him go on, because at the moment he wants to run a little harder than Gordon wants to run.
Joe Nemechek, let's look at his telemetry again as he motors inside of Jeff Gordon. That's for 10th place on the screen. Can he woe it down? I don't know if he can. That's an old slide move. Usually Earnhardt's involved in those. He's the guy who's passed first, and he comes back to pass you right back.
Nemechek's had a good run today. He really has. He started out in 12th spot and is currently running right now in 9th position. Finished 5th yesterday in the Busch Grand National race here at Dover. Very talented race car driver. Another one of those fellas that's hard on the gas. And I'm going to tell you, nobody's going to push a race car harder than Joe Nemechek, guy in the number 33.
Rusty Wallace in the 2-car there, he really started moving back towards the front again. He had dropped back almost to 20th spot. Now he's fought his way back up there, and he's running currently in 10th spot.
By the way, Jeff Burton fans, your driver will not return today. They have just withdrawn. Only the second DNF, only the second time they did not finish a race in this 2000 season. Had that problem in Atlanta, the engine failure way back in March.
Big price to pay in the points race. Big price to pay. They were right there knocking on the door.
And with Jarrett 98 laps down, it could be a big old day for Bobby Labonte. Let's go down to Glenn in the garage.
And I've caught up with Jeff Burton. First thing is, Jeff, I'm glad to see that you're okay. Obviously, a tire blew. Did it give any warning at all, or just go all at once, or did you run over something?
It gave a little bit of warning as soon as I started into 3. Didn't give enough warning to help me. Pretty disappointed. We had all the camber out of it, trying to make sure we didn't blow a right front. We were up on air the way Goodyear wanted us to be. I was running the high line trying to take care of the tires and kept telling them that I wasn't going to run hard, that I wanted to make sure we didn't hurt a right front. And we're actually loose. So just a shame. Must have run over something because I was loose, had all the camber out, and had the air in it, and it still blew.
Well, guys, based on what he's telling us right there, there's absolutely nothing he could have done. Tough day in the points as well. Both you and Dale Jarrett having problems.
Well, it is, but the points are a factor of how you do each and every race. And we go to every race trying to do the best we can. At the end of the year, we'll look at the points and decide how we did on that. Our year isn't going to be a success or a failure based on what we do in points. Our year is going to be a success or failure based on what we do each and every race. And we never have gotten caught up in this championship thing. We're just going to do the best we can do, and that's all we're going to do.
And that's all that anybody can ask of him. Jeff Burton led all 300 laps last week. He'll go home early today.
So the man who stands to benefit the most is Bobby Labonte. There you see the rookies, and there you see Labonte just trailing the tire tracks of Bill Elliott. Bobby right now running in 8th. Past halfway here at Dover Downs, Delaware. Thank you to the folks at the Felton Community Fire Company in Felton, Delaware, Station 48. They hosted their annual crab feast on Friday evening, and TNN's been invited every year. Linda P. Davis and Jeff Manhart of our staff were on hand, never passing up the free meal. Ralph Shaheen, our director, Gary Clem, and of course our own crab, Buddy Baker.
You got it.
Mike Gildranis and the whole crew there. Thanks to the folks in Felton, Delaware at the Community Fire Company. Great bunch of folks. We appreciate the hospitality.
Eli, that was a great night, and some of the best race fans. And you know, did you see that fire engine in the background there? 1851.
I was staring at the crab.
It still works. It still works.
Really?
And then I had the treat of going to a Richard Petty mini museum down here, and he had stuff that the Pettys had never seen. I'll guarantee you, it was wonderful. I had a great evening.
Again, a big thank you to the folks in Felton, Delaware, for being so very kind to TNN during our tenure here to bring you the events from Dover Downs International Speedway. A few moments ago, a pass for second. You'll watch it on the lower right of your screen. Tony Stewart around Jerry Nadeau. You know who's running awfully well right now, in addition to Nadeau still in there, is Mike Skinner. We've not talked much about the Lowe's team today, but as Stewart makes the move and grabs the lead from Jeremy Mayfield, we may have a battle of home improvement cars here soon, because Skinner's beginning to close in on the top spot. So that lead change at lap 226. Tony Stewart, who led laps 117, 118, and 119, is back atop the leaderboard. Steady progression. Going around Spencer, the 27th place runner, going a lap down again. Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy Spencer's a hurt puppy. He got into the wall really hard in the Busch Grand National race yesterday, and he's bruised from his ankles to his ears.
He has Todd Bodine standing by if needed in relief. 31, there's Skinner, dueling with Kenny Schrader, who's a lap down in 29th. And here comes Jeremy Mayfield. Jeremy Mayfield coming down the pit lane at lap 228. So Jeremy, who pitted at 187 with all the other leaders, comes in now to the attention of the crew. Glenn, what's the problem?
Eli, I've been out in the garage area with Jeff Burton. I'm just now getting there. I'll check on that and get right back to you.
So they're going to check and see. And Mayfield's going all the way to the garage.
Eli, apparently some type of mechanical problem with the car, because you can see the crew applauding his efforts today. But when they do that, it's usually over with.
And the goal was finish, finish, finish. And they ran so well, and some mechanical part apparently has let them down.
Early indication from their pit is that it could be engine failure. That's what they're suspecting right here. And if so, Mayfield will be done. Glenn, what's the deal?
You're exactly right, Eli. They're suspecting possibly a valve spring, but it is something internal in the engine. I tell you, they had the field covered here last time, and they had engine problems. When we were here back in June, looks like the same bug has bitten them again.
So yeah, this can be a very, very tough business. Oh, and the hood's going up on Schrader's car. Kenny's last NASCAR Winston Cup win was here back in June of 1991. It's been a while. And every time he comes here, he hopes that this will be the day. He always likes to run Dover, but he's got some problems there. Meanwhile, back on the track, 12th place is what you're staring at. Earnhardt Jr. in the red Bud machine. Jeff Gordon in the 24. And Schrader is going behind the wall. So all of a sudden, the attrition rate really beginning to heat up. Mike Bliss, Scott Pruitt, Carl Long, all involved in accidents. The same with Ward Burton, Dave Blaney, and Kevin LePage. Engine failure for Sterling Marlin. Accident for Mayfield. That eventually led to the engine problems. And now Kenny Schrader with an engine problem as well. But for Greg Zipadelli and the crew, they have finished fourth, second, and first here over the years. They're leading again.
Yeah, it's related.
There is the race leader, Tony Stewart, who, as we said, in his races here, has finished fourth, second, and won the event here in June. He's going for the Dover Sweep here this weekend. And he joined quite an illustrious list, including the Silver Fox, Bobby Allison, Hall of Famers all, either present or future. It is indeed engine failure for Mayfield. His day is done. He's not going to be able to come back as Stewart continues to march through the field. He just put 21st place Bobby Hamilton a lap down. There goes 13th spot. Whatever they did to Jeff Gordon's car, guys, didn't work.
Exactly right. He's been working his way towards the back of the field. And it's not that he's way off, just enough that he's losing a spot here, a spot there. But you can see the car taking a different line than he was when he was up the second place there at one time.
Yeah, Ralph, he's gone from second back to 14th now, Gordon has.
Yes, he has, Eli. He is very loose with the 24. That's what they're hoping to get a break. They can get in there and fix that for him. Now, as far as Kenny Schrader is concerned, they have a bad valve cover on the engine of the number 36. So they're changing valve covers on that car right now, hoping they can at least nurse this car back to the finish. There you can see the valve cover going on the car. The reason why the Jeff Gordon crew is helping is because this is a Hendrick engine. It's a lease engine program for Kenny Schrader. Also wanted to update you real quick on the 25 of Jerry Nadeau. It wasn't that Tony Burr didn't want to talk to me about the tires. He couldn't hear me because it's so loud down here during the racing action. He did tell me they are concerned about the tires. They're making sure that Jerry runs very, very slowly and very easy on those tires. Jerry said if he was running a 10th earlier, he's running about half of that right now. So he's being very cautious with those tires.
All right, Ralph, good updates down there as we keep an eye on Jeff Gordon, sponsored by DuPont. They're based just up Highway 13 in Wilmington, Delaware. And they're on board through at least the year 2005, sponsorship-wise. We just gave you that list a few moments ago, but it's worthy of a look-see again because it's a fairly large list of drivers heading home. The most drivers to fail to finish a race at Dover was 19. Back in May of 1981, 19 of the starters ended the day in the garage. Was Buddy Baker among those? You have a smirk on your face.
I have no idea. I see Kurt Busch just went a lap down right there. Tony Stewart went under him, and you can see what he's doing. He's logging racing miles right now, finding out what does the car do at the end of 200 laps, 300 laps. I'm not sure of this, but I'm not positive that he's ever really run a car with any camber in the back of the car or anything. He's learning a lot as far as what he needs for future races.
They were here and tested a week or so ago and had 2 very good test sessions. There's Nadeau, however, 2 seconds behind Tony Stewart.
Eli, you can talk all you want to somebody about race conditions, but until you get out there and get in race condition and you have 43 other cars out there that you have to get around and manipulate, you don't know what it's like.
Oh, you see Jimmy Spencer slow there on the back straightaway as we saw the field go by. Here comes Ricky Rudd. He's in third, 7 9/10 seconds behind. You saw him go by Spencer there on the apron of the racetrack.
Ricky has been moving consistently forward on this long run as we watch Jimmy Spencer. Rudd's car handling very well, moving forward, picking up positions, currently running in third.
And I'll bet you Jimmy Spencer goes straight to the garage area. He'll stop up here to see what's wrong, but he pulled over way back on the back straightaway. That normally means that hood's coming up, as it is coming up.
Mike Hogwood, what's the problem?
Well, they suspected a blown motor, but they're going to raise the hood and look into check C, make sure all the wires are connected, but it sounded from Jimmy Spencer like this was going to be a terminal problem, and it does look now like the engine is indeed blown, and that'll probably be the end of Jimmy Spencer's day.
So the attrition list continues to grow as Spencer, with engine problems, heads to the garage, though at the same time, 20 laps down, Ken Schrader is back on the racetrack, running in 33rd. CNN Sports live coverage of the MBNA.com 400 is being brought to you by Route 66. Jeans, clothes. It's not Main Street, only at Kmart. And by Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. Well, the radio conversation, the driver says, somebody hit me. At least I think that's what happened. Jerry Nadeau. Problems there in turn number 2 brings out the 8th caution flag of the day. There was a slight fire. You see the safety and fire crews on the scene. Jerry is out of the car. He is just fine. But caution for the 8th time, and the leaders are making their stops now. Stewart, Rudd, Skinner. Mike Hogwood.
Well, we're in Tony Stewart's pit, and he is reporting the car is obviously running great. He's been out front and pulling away, making no changes at all. 4 tires and fuel, the only thing going into this Pontiac. He is down and away. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Ricky Rudd is in. He's taking on fuel and tires. This car's working pretty good. Ricky Rudd pretty happy. The 28 making its way back out after completing his stop.
Little close quarters running right there on the exit. Look at they're having to push off Mark Martin's car again. So whatever Mark is able to pick up on the racetrack has just gone away.
Eli, that's murder on that clutch, trying to get that car to run in high gear like that.
And they're not allowed to push it anymore then. That line that you see going across the racetrack there, that's as far as the NASCAR officials will allow crew members to get out onto the racing surface, so they got to try it again. Meanwhile, Glenn is in the garage with Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah, guys, Jeremy's been kind enough to wait on us. Jeremy, tough break. Engine trouble sidelines you once again, but a lot of tire trouble here today. You weren't having any.
No, we weren't. We had a great tire wear, and thanks to Goodyear. I mean, I know some guys had some trouble, but ours was perfect all day. And, you know, we've been trying a lot of geometry stuff in the front end, put the whole package on there here, and working, man. We had everything right today. Tire temps, everything looked good. But, you know, Penske engines, they done an awesome job all year, and you can't really say anything. I mean, them guys work hard over there, and, you know, we don't have very many troubles. You see that. So when we do, we just load up and go home. And if we ever start finishing races here, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
I was going to say, that's 5 in a row. That's got to be wearing on you.
It is. You know, we had a lot of trouble, but one thing about it, this 12 car keeps working hard and keeps going right back, and we're getting better and better. It's a great race team, and we're not going to get our heads down. We're going to be right back next week and not go down.
Okay, better luck to you. I'll tell you what, guys, you can still hear the enthusiasm in his voice.
Meanwhile, you talk about enthusiasm. How about Bill Elliott? He pitted in 4th, came out with the lead. Bill Elliott leads at Dover for the first time since September of 1992. He is the perennial most popular driver in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, Bill Elliott. He won here in 1985, 1988, twice, and again in 1990. A 4-time winner here at the Monster Mile. Bill Elliott is leading for the first time at Dover since 1992. And it kind of looks awfully good, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Meanwhile, Tony Stewart running in 2nd, and he has kindly allowed Dr. Berggren to chat with him here under caution. Dick?
Hi, Tony. Dick Berggren. Can you hear us?
Yeah, go ahead, Dick.
The car looks awfully good, but how hard are you leaning on it?
It's hard to lean on this thing right now. I mean, the way the stagger that we have to run this week, it's kind of a balancing act right now. If you try to run the throttle too hard in the corner, you're loose, and if you don't run it hard enough, you're tight. It's been a big challenge. It's not been near as easy as it was last time we were here. The tires made things a lot different, a lot more challenging for us.
Okay, well, good luck this afternoon, Tony.
We'll do the best we can.
Tony Stewart in the Home Depot Pontiac. We appreciate his consenting to chat with us here on our telecast on TNN. He is running 2nd, Ricky Rudd 3rd, Skinner and Labonte. That's Bobby Labonte running in the top 5. You know who's not been a huge factor lately? You hate to see it, as Terry Labonte. He's running 13th today, which is really one of the best showings he's had in a bit.
I talked to his crew chief, Gary Dehart, this morning, and I asked him what was wrong, and he sort of shrugged his shoulders and said, Dick, if I knew what was wrong, we would fix it. They're definitely unsure. He said they're using the same setups as the 24 car of Jeff Gordon, the 25 of Nadeau, both of whom are running much better than Terry is, and they're just confused. The one thing they do want to do is test a lot more next year. They're talking about another rig, and they're talking about some other drivers and running tracks that aren't Winston Cup tracks, and Dehart wants to test every single week. In year 2001, he said the guys who are testing are the guys who are beating us, so we have got to test. And they have not been able to test very much this year. They just don't have the transporter. Next year they will.
Terry is also winless in 21 years of racing here at Dover. Has a couple of second-place runs, but never a win. Glenn has caught up with Jerry Nadeau in the garage.
Wow, guys, they're wearing me out down here. I hate to see this. Jerry, you had a great race car. Looks like you had a possibility for that first win. What happened out there?
Well, the run before that, we ran about 65 laps, and the right front tire wasn't looking that good. And Tony said, take it easy, take it easy. And I tell you what, I was taking it easy. I mean, not one time was I pushing. You know, I gave myself about a half a straightaway lead from Tony, and then finally going in. I felt a vibration coming off of 4, and it finally let go going to 1, and I had no warning. I mean, I just hate it for the guys. We had an awesome race car. It's the way our luck's been all year. I want to tell my wife, Jade, I'm fine, and my mom back in Danbury, I'm okay. It was a hard hit, but I'm okay.
Well, we're glad that Jerry's okay. Once again, another victim into the wall.
From Danbury, Connecticut. Meanwhile, Mark Martin is running again. Remember, he came in 6th earlier and had those problems with his tranny. He's now in 17th as we work caution at Dover. Now, the Monster Mile's been hungry, eating some race cars today. Lap 99, Dave Blaney. Lap 185, Jeff Burton. Lap 253, Jerry Nadeau. It has been a problem-filled afternoon as we are back with you.
Wow, that's a cast of characters.
I guess. Now we thank the folks here at Dover, the whole Rollins family, the Melvin Joseph crew, all the folks here at Dover. We thank them for allowing us to be part of their racing for the last 10 years. Our final visit to the Monster Mile for the foreseeable future. Next year it'll be Fox Network and NBC with the races from the Monster Mile. 261 laps on the board, 400 making up the total distance. If you're just joining us, we have had a heavy attrition rate today. We've had 8 caution flags. As a matter of fact, the caution laps now 45 in total. Everybody getting themselves set. We are going back to green this time as the pace car pulls away.
Nice overhead shot from the chopper here as they get the green flag.
Bill Elliott, the race leader. Let's see if he can stay there against Tony Stewart and Ricky Rudd. Michael Waltrip had tried to get his lap back. Was unable to do so on the number 7 car. Mike Skinner in that blue and yellow 31 climbing the banking. Here goes the battle for the lead. There goes the battle for the lead.
I tell you what, though, Bill Elliott's running a great race today, and you can tell he's not giving up much in the corners there. Down the straightaway, Stewart's got a pretty fast car, but you can see Bill Elliott inching back up on him as they go down in the corner.
Second and fourth spot, both deserve a trophy for being tough guys. Both guys banged up. Bill Elliott with a left knee that's all banged up, and Mike Skinner in the number 31 car you're looking at here. Hard crash with a fire yesterday. Fell trying to get over the wall, slipped in the grass. He's all beat up today as well, and they're both running very, very fast. Now, you can talk about your football players being tough. I'll take this sport. These guys are as tough as anybody.
Oh, hang on, Mike Skinner, as he peels off the straightaway with its banking and makes the move inside of Ricky Rudd.
He does that move very often. He'll need to be tough, because I tell you what, that was almost a wreck there.
Let's go down to the pit lane.
Oh, Mike Skinner, as you mentioned, was really banged up yesterday. Not only hit hard in his car, but he also hit the wall after he got out of the car. I was talking to Larry McReynolds a minute ago, and I said, how's Mike feeling? He said he's sore, but just like Dick Berggren said, he's very, very tough. I said, do you have a shot at this thing? He says, what our shot is for a top 5. This team needs a good finish. That's what we're going for today.
Watch Mike Skinner get bumped around again. It's worthy of another look. It's the lower right-hand corner of your screen.
Look out for a sideways. Oh. He left black marks coming off of there, and also when he started back to the right, black marks. Looks like John Force on a burnout.
How did he hang on to that?
Yeah, no bumping there. He just saved it. Can see how your favorite driver's doing there. NASCAR timing and scoring. Sponsored by NapaOnline.com, where everything's great about Napa is now available online.
Eli, that move he made just seconds ago off the corner up there, that's just before you go, whoa.
That's just before you meet the record driver, too.
By the way, 22 lead changes already today. Closing in on the 25 of a year ago as you see the battle for 8th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 10 of Benson, the other car involved there. That's the 75 of Donovan. But Wally is a lap down.
You know, for a bunch of guys who didn't like their race car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his team have done incredibly well today. Jr. currently running in 8th spot.
Good battles throughout the top 10. There goes Kenseth in the 17. Gordon in the 24. That's 10th and 11th. As they work around Wally Dallenbach.
They've had a chance to work on Gordon's car. He was going backwards before this last pit stop, and hopefully they got the car a little bit better as he moves up on Kenseth there. But he and Nemechek have had a pretty good race for a lot of the period of the race today. But you see Gordon now, he seems to have the handle back on the 24 car as he goes by Matt Kenseth.
Hey, look who's there, Mark Martin. He's running in 14th.
Eli, he'll be fine as long as he's running along in high gear because you never shift. But if he ever has to make a green flag stop, he's in big trouble.
He's challenging Earnhardt for the 13th spot.
You know, I better explain to the people that are just joining us, he does not have anything but high gear. The transmission broke not long ago, and he only has high gear. So Mark Martin comes in under the green flag. It'll take him a full lap to get back up to speed, and he'll have to start off in high gear. It will not pull fast, so he'll lose at least 2 laps when he makes the pit stop.
There's Skinner and Ricky Rudd battling for third. Skinner climbs the banking. That's all Ricky Rudd needs.
You want to hear a good sounding race car, listen. That's horsepower, friend.
That's Robert Gates' horsepower. They don't make them any better than Robert Gates, who owns that race car and is responsible for the engines under the hood of that race car.
Skinner winless in 136 starts. This is number 137. And of course, Ricky Rudd looking for his first win of the year. And Mike, it's remarkable to be in the top 10 in points this late in the year without a victory.
And he thought he had a shot at the pole here, Eli, but when he went out on his qualifying lap on Friday, he had no power steering in the car. I talked to him today, and he said, well, fortunately, it happened in qualifying and not on the first lap of this race. He would have really been in trouble, but felt that he really had a car capable of winning here today.
Let's go overhead to the helicopter for a second, because the lines in the corner are so different. You'll watch as they work the back straightaway. There's Ricky Rudd. Look at
Skinner way upstairs. Rudd right on the bottom.
But we saw Harry Gant run the high side and lap everybody twice.
Yeah, but this is a mile. Let's be fair. This is a mile racetrack. Harry Gant ran a mile and a half around this place because he was 1 inch off the wall. But it's what made his car work late in the race, and he never give up. He was one of those people that once he got the mindset for the racetrack, he'd get up there. He didn't care if he was rubbing the wall a little bit, and he never backed off or give up.
That style also stood some guy named Petty in pretty good stead also over the years.
Yeah, somebody said the other day, was Richard Petty good? And I said, no, he got lucky 200 times. Of course he's good.
Bobby Labonte, he's running 5th. Has a big chance to pick up some big points. Back to Dover after this. The man started in 27th. Tony Stewart did. He now leads here at Dover Downs. Remember Kyle Petty, when he won here back in June of '95, started in 37th. And you've got Rudd, Elliott, and Skinner next in line with Bobby Labonte as well. Skinner still climbing the 24-degree banking. Elliott on the main straightaway, putting lap 284 on the board.
Good steady run, too, for Elliott. He's been in the top 5 most of the way today. The car is really dialed in, and Bill would love to, really turn it around here and have a great run here at Dover.
Well, he's kind of turned around his whole deal at Daytona. He came in with a bunch of new personnel. Mike Ford, Kevin Cram have made a huge difference on Bill Elliott's team. He's got a pair of third-place finishes so far this year. But the car and the team are better than third spot.
There you go, a battle now for 5th. And Rusty Wallace takes it from Bobby Labonte. Bobby's not going to contest you big time right now. Again, if you're just joining us along the way, his closest chasers in the points, Jeff Burton is out for the day. He'll finish somewhere around 36, 37. Dale Jarrett is out there and running, but he is 98 laps down. So that situation will have Jarrett finish somewhere in the 35th place or so. So again, Bobby Labonte could really make some major headway here today and further cementing his hold on the top spot in points. The points as they run right now, as a matter of fact.
Wow, look who's in second.
But remember who second was coming in was Burton, 168 back. So Earnhardt You heard him tell the guys on the pre-race show that he was kind of ticked off that he lost second in points last week in New Hampshire. He'd be back up, and he'd be a larger margin behind Bobby Labonte.
And this is the biggest point lead that Bobby Labonte has had all season long. He came in with that 168-point deal over the top of Burton. The worst off he's been, the worst, was the Daytona 500, where he finished 6th and was 35 points down. He's led it all but 2 weeks this year, Bobby Labonte has.
There's Dale running in 13th. And as you see, better than 11 seconds behind the leader. Dover Downs International Speedway. We have seen Bobby Allison and Richard Petty win here 7 times. The legendary Silver Fox David Pearson 5 times a winner. As you see, Skinner and Wallace battle for 4th. Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, they are 4-time winners here. Earnhardt and Rusty and Hale, Yarborough and Jeff Gordon, they've won here 3 times, as has Mark Martin. Darrell Waltrip 2 wins here. And, of course, Jeffrey Bodine and Jody Ridley. That was 1981 when he and Junie Dunleavy got together for the win. A long time. Schrader and Jarrett and Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, all winners here. Pretty interesting list.
Eli watching the 31 there. Indeed, a great list of great drivers. And Jody Ridley, he did such a great job that day, you know. He just stayed in there. Other people outrun him, but he just stayed in there and fought hard. And anybody that's ever raced against him on short tracks down south knows that Jody Ridley was a great race car driver. Didn't have the stats in Winston Cup, but he was a good driver.
When he and his brother Biddle brought that car in from Chatsworth, Georgia, to wherever they were racing, you automatically pointed and said, those are the guys to beat.
Yep, it's a 98 here with some of the words you'd say.
Yeah.
If it was, you had to deal with it.
Here's a good scramble now. 4th place.
Yeah.
Rusty Wallace low, Skinner up high.
Bobby Labonte lower than anybody. It's 3 distinct lines, 3 different styles of going through the corner, and all of them are working.
And Johnny Benson right behind them in that number 10 machine. Not count him out. He's been around the top 7 all day.
And I got to tell you, I think Mike Skinner's car is going away just a little bit. He's beginning to get the car stepping out on him as he starts off the corner. So just a little bit. So he's taking that line right now, trying not to lay on the tires and keep as much momentum as he can. But right now, he's dropping back.
But do you think he could have hurt those back tires when he tried to pass Ricky Rudd and left the black tire marks on the racetrack?
He didn't help with any, I'll guarantee you that. But I would say right now that they need a couple of more adjustments and they'll be right in there, because it has the straightaway speed, but that's not a good line right there. That's taking care of business and trying to keep momentum, but you can see he lost 2 spots there in the time that it took me to say absolutely nothing.
Little traffic to deal with there for Tony Stewart. Gets around Kenny Schrader. Puts him another lap down. He's 20 in arrears. Jimmy Maycar and the Interstate Batteries team monitoring their man. He's in 5th. Tony Stewart is the race leader. Ricky Rudd, Johnny Benson, Bill Elliott, and Bobby Labonte. That's the top 5. I'm Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, and Dick Berggren up here with me. Down on the pit lane, Mike Hogwood, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen. Why don't we check in with the guys downstairs and get an update? Hog, Tony Stewart running well. Is he pushing the car too much?
Not at all. And matter of fact, his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, is reminding him to take it easy, Tony. Take it easy. Tony replied a moment ago, hey, Greg, if I take it any easier on this car, it's going to fire me as its driver. So he is taking it easy right now and leading the race to Ralph Shaheen.
Michael McSwain is the crew chief for Ricky Rudd. Michael, how worried are you about your tires?
Our car work's been real good. We probably gave up a little bit on the early run so that our cars would be in good shape at the end of the long run. We're pretty good at points. And we couldn't afford a wreck.
Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Ralph. We're down at Bill Elliott's pits. Take a look at this chart that this team keeps here. Bill started in 7th position him today. On his first stop, he lost 10 positions. They had an 18.85-second stop. But look at these stops ever since then. 15.74, 15.17, 15.1. Every time they're gaining positions. This last pit stop, 14 seconds flat. That's when they came out with the lead. Picked up 4 spots. You talk about how important pit work is. This little board shows it right here, right now. Bill has since fallen back to third, but this is an indication of the kind of day that they've had. Solid pit work like that will indeed keep them up front.
No doubt about it. It's Mike Skinner. You saw him climb the banking again, and has Gordon and Nemechek work by him. Skinner now having backslid to the 11th spot.
Skinner's just hanging on at this point. He definitely needs a pit stop and fire 4 fresh tires at that number 31 Lowe's Chevrolet. Get him back in the hunt again. Skinner desperately wants to win. And of all the people who are out here and have tried so terribly hard, probably no one is more overdue than Mike Skinner. Crew chief Larry McReynolds going to go off and do television next year. Desperately wants to win with Skinner before he leaves the job of being a Winston Cup crew chief. Skinner, about the only guy McReynolds has ever worked with that he hasn't managed to win a race with.
Inside the final 100 miles, as you see, 92 remaining. A lot of fellows doing awfully well, quietly climbing the leaderboard. Steve Park still sitting in 7th as you watch Nemechek and Jeff Gordon in their 9th and 10th place battle. Johnny Benson running well in 3rd, still hanging in there. Best super speedway showing of the year. All of this, though, taking place 11.5 seconds behind that man, Tony Stewart. He leads with 91 miles, 91 laps to go. We will have some more pit stops. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Stewart continues to lead. Took the lead most recently at lap 264, but actually began leading at 226. Yielded the lead for just a few moments. Let's see who else is on the racetrack. Before is Bobby Hamilton. He's a couple of laps down. Bobby's running in 24th. There's Steve Grissom. He's 4 laps down in 27th position, running in the Hot Wheels machine. That is Steve Grissom again, 4 laps down. Then you go and wait for Ricky Rudd to come into focus. There's Ricky. He's second, 2 3/10 seconds behind our race leader, as Ricky gives us the ride around the Monster Mile. Kurt Busch, 19th place, a lap down, hanging tough, doing a good job getting that seat time in his first NASCAR Winston Cup point race start. Then you come back to Johnny Benson right there in the number 10. Johnny is 4.8 seconds behind the leader, running in 3rd spot. He has never run better than 7th place here at Dover. Did that back in June of 1999. The 9 is Stacy Compton right there. The 94, Bill Elliott. The 18, that's Bobby Labonte. Labonte and Elliott are 5 and 6 seconds back, respectively. And Compton, we showed you there, running in 28th spot. He is 8 laps down. Next on the racetrack is the 2, Rusty Wallace. 71, Dave Marcus. Marcus is in 29th. He is 10 laps down. Rusty Wallace is in 6th. He is 7 seconds back. The number 6 car you saw, Mark Martin. The number 1, Steve Park. They are running 7th and 8th, respectively. They are 9 and 2/10 seconds behind our race leader, Tony Stewart. And again, there's Dave Marcus once more. He is now 8 laps down in 29th. The 33 is Joe Nemechek. Joe is on the lead lap, 11 and 6/10 seconds behind our race leader. There you see the numbers that Joe is turning here this afternoon. Behind Joe Nemechek, you'll come to the 24, Jeff Gordon. He is 11 and 9/10 seconds behind the leader, Stewart. He's running in 10th, Jeff Gordon is. And there's Dale Earnhardt. He's running in 11th spot. Just another second further behind. That makes him 12 seconds back of our leader. The 36, Kenny Schrader. There he is. Kenny is now being shown 23 laps down in 31st spot. Haven't seen much of Terry Labonte, but he's still on the lead lap at 12th. He's 14 and 9/10 seconds back of the Tony Stewart car. There's Mike Skinner. He's backslid to 13th now. He, too, is right at 11 seconds behind. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is running in 14th spot. He's 13 seconds down to the leader, Tony Stewart. There's Ted Musgrave. Heavy-hearted as he is this weekend with the passing of his dad. Funeral services tomorrow. Musgrave is 2 laps down in 25th place. And that green car, that's Rick Mast in the Conseco Pontiac. Mast running in 15th. He remains on the lead lap now. There's the 11. That's Brett Bodine in 20th spot. He is a couple of laps down in the 20th position. Michael Waltrip battling Brett Bodine for position. He'll be next on the screen. And there he is. Michael running in the 21st place. And being shown a couple of laps behind our race leader, Tony Stewart. 55, Kenny Wallace. 77, Robert Presley. They are running for position, 16th and 17th now. As a matter of fact, Wallace just passed Presley to take over 16th. Presley running in the 17th spot. They are a lap down. Elliott Sadler had problems early. He dropped 4 laps down. He's running in 26th place. 43, John Andretti. He's a couple of laps back in 22nd. Others on the racetrack include Matt Kenseth, the number 2 rookie right now. He is about to go a lap down. Running an 18th spot as Tony Stewart, the race leader, has caught him. Those we've not mentioned, Mike Bliss out with an accident. The same with Scott Pruitt and Carl Long. Ward Burton gone with an accident. So too Dave Blaney and Kevin LePage. Sterling Marlin out with engine failure. Jeff Burton gone with an accident. Engine failure for Jeremy Mayfield. Jimmy Spencer out with engine failure. Jerry Nadeau gone with an accident. And there you have it. Everybody else you have seen, and they are accounted for. 73 miles to go. We're closing in on pit stops here at the Monster Mile. And a very comfortable day, what with all the overcast. Temperature in the 70s, bit of a breeze. Tony Stewart, he's in the breeze as well as pit stops now begin to take place. Oh, and look, here goes the battle between Elliott and Martin for 5th. Mark Martin grabs it. And you know what the heartbreaker is of all of this? Remember, Mark's got a transmission problem, and with pit stops coming up, if he doesn't get a caution here and has to stop under green, he's going to lose a lap or something.
You know, you've got to wonder about what kind of a day Mark Martin would have had if he hadn't had the problem in the pit stop earlier with the lug nut sticking in the gun and then the transmission problem. He has run a very smooth race. He's been very fast all day, but trouble in the pits, mechanical trouble on the car.
Eli will be very lucky if he don't pull the clutch completely out of the car, trying to get it back up to speed.
Remember, Mark restarted in 17th, and he's moved up to 6th now. Dale Jarrett, 98 laps down, running in 34th place. In for service. We've seen Matt Kenseth come in. Darrell Waltrip went to the garage moments ago. Robert Presley making his pit stop at lap 334. We should not have any fuel mileage race here today, and oftentimes we have seen here at Dover. Nobody is in any way, shape, or form capable of going the distance, and all these stops that will come between now and mile 350 will certainly assure everybody the ability to go the rest of the way.
Eli, as good as Tony Stewart is running, and I mean, he was flying around the racetrack and looked very good. Quickie Rudd is bringing him back. He's reeling him in very, very, every lap he gains just a little bit on him.
1 6/10 seconds from Stewart there, back to Rudd right there.
And we've got one more pit stop at least to go, and we'll see how well the tires and the adjustments that the crews put on these cars in that final pit stop do.
John Andretti making his pit stop, lap 337. Again, these are all scheduled, all routine, tires and fuel. Everybody will have to stop once more.
Boy, Stewart can stay right on the bottom with that race car with worn tires. That thing is just dialed in beautifully today. That's hard to do, to stay on the bottom with tires as worn out as Stewart's are. Testimony to Greg Zipadelli and the rest of the crew. Get that car run that
he started pushing that car past the limit, it wouldn't take him very long to scrub the tires to where he couldn't stay down there like he could.
Tony Stewart, fastest man to ever run here at Dover, Delaware. An IRL car, 185.204. Let me tell you what, I was here for that event, and it was one of the scariest races I've ever seen in my life. Skinner in.
Lap 340, Mike Skinner. Here's a quick service from the Lowe's team.
You can bet Skinner's glad to get those 4 tires on.
By the way, watch this lower right. Kurt Busch in that green and yellow car. Oh, me. 16th place, continued on.
Yeah, well, that's just what we call kind of nudging the wall there. He didn't really hit it. He just went up there and made sure it was still there. He tried it yesterday. He didn't move it. And believe me, that was much easier than he hit yesterday.
Lap 342, Terry Labonte is in.
Stewart's going to be right in.
They've got the pit by. You see right behind the Terry Labonte car? He just saw them put out the Home Depot signboard. You see it being waved up and down. Here comes the race leader. Lap 343. Jeff Gordon is in, and Tony Stewart, the leader, is in. So too, Brett Bodine is in. Mike Hogwood.
We're in Tony Stewart's pit. He has asked the crew to tighten the car up just a little bit. Says it's a little loose everywhere, but boy, is it running great. Right side service being done on the tires now. Around to the left side. The tire changes. Bernie Arbiter and Gerald Shires. Marcus Bonicelli has got the gas in the car. Good stop working for the 20P. They are down and away to Ralph Shaheen.
Ricky Rudd making his pit stop now. No chassis adjustments have been called for. The car's been just a little bit tight in the last 30 or so laps. But Ricky very happy with the performance, and away he goes.
The new leader now will be the 33 of Nemechek, as Bobby Labonte had taken the lead at lap 343. He now comes in for service, along with Mark Martin and Bill Elliott. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in. Rick Mast is in. And now let's see how Mark Martin does. Polaris ATVs timing this pit stop for you. Overdosed on civilization. Polaris is the way out. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mark Martin was looking for somebody to come down pit road with, guys. They finally worked it out with Bill Elliott's crew. The reason he needed that, and now they're having to push him off, as we knew this would be a big problem. But one of the other problems he had, with only 4th gear, he didn't know how fast to run down pit road. So he came in right in front of Elliott and used Elliott's speed to gauge his own speed down pit road. Both cars are down and away.
More and more pit stops taking place. There's the leader, Nemechek, coming in, along with Dale Earnhardt. He is in. Bobby Hamilton is in. Rusty Wallace is in for service. This will cycle things back around to Tony Stewart when he comes back to the start-finish line. Let's go to Ralph.
Joe Nemechek is in, car owner. Andy Petrie changing the front tires. No chassis adjustments called for. Just tires and fuel. They wipe the grill and Joe's away. The good stop, 16.3.
Team owner changing the tires. Fairly unique in any league of racing. Andy Petrie's one of the best there is at it. Why not?
And now, as soon as Tony Stewart gets back to the start-finish line, he will reassume the lead, and he does right there. So he is the new leader at lap 347. 53 miles to settle it here at Dover Downs. Just been in for another pit stop. Glenn, he was in at 344, now lap 351. What happened?
Well, we were trying to get a word with Mike Ford, the crew chief, but he came down off the box there looking at the tires. Evidently, there was a vibration or either a tire that had equalized or something, guys, because they came in and changed all 4 tires. That's all they did, so evidently there was a tire problem.
That's a heartbreaker right there. He will lose a couple of laps, Bill will. The last time he had finished on a lead lap here at Dover was back in 1992. By the way, Mark Martin loses 3/4 of a lap by virtue of making his stop. Came in 5th, dropped to 12th, stayed on the lead lap, but loses about 3/4 of a lap. So if you're a Mark Martin fan, he's out there running, doing as well as he can with the transmission problems. Let's go back to Glenn. What else did you learn on Elliott's deal?
Well, I finally got the word with Mike Ford, and he said indeed there was a vibration. The reason for it, lug nuts were left loose.
Here's that pit stop. This is the second one at lap 351. After Bill came in at lap 344. That'll ruin your afternoon.
Yeah, you get that wheel wobbling around back there, and there's only one thing to do. You have to come in, or it will eventually vibrate the inside of the wheel apart.
We have seen so many examples this afternoon of how easy it is to lose a Winston Cup race. Now, folks at home, just think about how many times in a given day you make a mistake. You're typing away on your computer, you hit a wrong key. No problem. Get the delete. Everything's just fine. You're dialing your cell phone. You're charging it to a credit card or what have you. You hit the wrong key. It's no problem. You're in a Winston Cup race. Make a mistake. You lose the race. Maybe you lose a race car. Lose a chance for a championship. This is so tough. There is no margin for error at all here.
You just saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. go a lap down moments ago while the doctor was talking. 15th place, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is a lap down.
Boy, and it's easy to see why, too. I mean, Stewart's car just goes anywhere he wants to. As a matter of fact, he was below the bottom part on the racetrack there. Dr. Dick Berggren just touched the telestrator there. I thought that just struck my lightning just for a second.
Now, seconds ago, there was some contact out on the racetrack. Watch again, the one-car park, the 7 of Michael Waltrip. Michael's about below. Baby. There wasn't any contact. Michael just about went away.
This is not Eldora Speedway. Can't do that stuff here.
Good save by Mike. We've seen between he and Skinner, who made that great grab off the 4th corner earlier today, we've seen some big-time racing, big-time driving.
Eli, they've improved the radial tire so much. If that had been 4 or 5 years ago, the sidewalls, yeah, they were much stiffer on the sidewalls. If you ever broke them loose like that, you'd never get back straight. So they're making the radials much better than they used to as far as catching them back once they break loose.
You know, we went into the history books last week and talked about Jeff Burton leading every lap. If Tony Stewart wins here today, backing up his win in June, we would only see it being, what, the 7th time that we've had a sweep of Dover races in a given year. Jeff Gordon did it in 1996. That was the most recent. And then you go back to Russ Neem, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott did it, Bobby Allison, David Pearson. But scant few.
Look at this double.
You know,
look at this guy, Johnny Benson.
I've got to tell you something. Johnny Benson turned it up a notch, but Ricky Rudd, whatever they made as far as the change on that last pit stop, he's dropping back now. He's not the force that he was just before the pit stop a second ago.
Benson running the same car. He finished second in a career best finish. Second at Bristol earlier this year.
Right. Best finish in 153 career starts. His best super speedway finish was 4th place in Las Vegas back in March. And there goes Dale Earnhardt a lap down. Or does he? Let's see if we have a repeat of the Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt battle of a week ago to try and get back on the lead lap or stay there.
I can tell you one thing. That's 2 forceful drivers right there. Tony Stewart won't back up. I'll promise you that.
13th place, just going a lap down there.
Well, he sure gave Earnhardt plenty of room, though, didn't he?
Not a bad thing to practice.
Oh, it's a very intelligent thing to do. He's clearly got the superior car. No point in Earnhardt trying to fight him at this point.
He is still second in points, though, Earnhardt is.
Well, it's a big gap, though. 242 down this deep in the season. Be hard to overcome.
But it's not without precedent.
No, it's not. But it'd still be very tough to do.
I'm watching Earnhardt's car, and it is very, very unstable in the corners. It's wiggling around, almost like he might suspect it might have a leaking tire or something, because I watched the car a second ago. It's very unstable.
He looked unstable in the straightaway.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you can see Bill Elliott now making a move on the outside there. That car does not look like it's getting the grip that he wants it to in the corner.
the main straightaway. Stewart, Benson, Rudd, Labonte, and Park. Oh, Steve Park's come into his own this year, hasn't he?
Oh, he really has. The win in Watkins Glen, and the picture of him standing on the roof of that race car.
Saluting his home state fans.
Hands raised triumphantly in the air. It took Steve Park a while to really get rolling here. Of course, you wonder about that huge crash in Atlanta where he was so badly hurt early on in his Winston Cup career. It takes a guy a while to heal from a thing like that. And right now, Park is the fastest race car on the Speedway. He's having a great time. Tail end of year 2000. Came here from New Hampshire on his motorcycle. Took the whole week to do it. They just sort of rode through Connecticut, went to Long Island, rode all around Long Island, went to the Harley factory in York. He and Matt Yoakum just had themselves a great time, so he came fresh and ready to race. Doing a terrific job today.
Running in 5th right now, Steve Park. TNN Sports is live at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. For just joining us, Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen, and Mike Hogwood. This race slowed by 8 caution flags today for 45 caution laps. We have had a hassle full of lead changes, 25 of them among 13 different drivers. So we have again tied the lead change numbers that were set here as a record a year ago. Now the question is, does Rudd, does Benson, does anybody have a chance to make up the 2.5 seconds and chase down Tony Stewart? Ralph, do they think they can do it?
Well, Ricky Rudd's team feels pretty confident. I was just talking to Chief Michael McSwain, who says the car always starts off a new run on fresh tires a little bit loose, but then it settles down. And once it does, he should be able to charge back to the front. That's what they're hoping for, at least for now.
We'll all find out together the last couple of laps, though. Tony Stewart has stepped on the button just a bit more. He's now 4 seconds ahead of Rudd, 3.05 ahead of second place Johnny Benson. By the way, want to say hello to C.C. Cunningham. Many of you folks know him. You may just not realize it. If you've ever stopped by the TNN souvenir trailers at the racetracks across the country and at all the different events that TNN Sports is involved in, maybe you've purchased a souvenir item from one of those trailers and you've dealt with C.C. Cunningham. He's battling some medical problems, and we know that C.C. is watching today. We really wish him the very, very best. CC, hope to see you back out here around the racetracks and join us again. So, quick hello to CC Cunningham.
Absolutely, and just a fun guy to be around, and certainly we all want to wish him a fast recovery and everything good for him. I tell you, he's a nice fellow.
Dover Downs International Speedway. It opened in 1969 on the site of the old Delaware State Police Barracks. Today, the crowd a whole lot bigger, having a good time. Can 11th place Mike Skinner stay on the lead lap? No.
Absolutely not. You can see the 31 there, Mike Skinner, the blue car, just goes straight up the hill going into turn 3. Stewart hadn't been off the bottom of the racetrack in the last 25 laps.
You know, we had talked earlier about how Tony has really mastered the Monster Mile in his last 3 visits, finishing 4th, 2nd, and 1st. Taking it even a step further, though, when he finished 4th, he led 127 laps that day. Then this race a year ago, he finished 2nd, led 97 laps, and then, of course, here in June, when he won, he led 242. So not only has he been the consistent top 3 runner, but he's just annihilated the field.
He has done that, and really and truly, some people adapt to a racetrack. Cale Yarborough is the same way at this racetrack. David Pearson, we talked about people that won a lot of races here, and they're of the same type of driving style that Tony Stewart is. Fast, but always right where the car works the best.
There's Dale Earnhardt. He's in 17th, dealing with with Elliott Sadler there. Mike Hogwood's down in the Earnhardt pit area.
Yeah, you mentioned a moment ago he was having some trouble. Dale said he thought that the chain on the axle was hung up, or the tires that he had on the car may just be messed up. And that's putting it politely, how Dale called the set of tires on this car right now.
Well, if you want to know what he's going through, you can just look at the car. It's almost like going into a corner in your road car and all of a sudden realizing there's oil on the surface because it's not sticking at all, just going right up the racetrack. He's doing a great job of not spinning that car around.
It's got to be very frustrating for him. He so desperately wants that 8th championship. Between New Hampshire last week, a tough finish, and it's clearly not going to be a good finish this week either. Second in points is okay, but second is still second when there's that big a point spread between first and second.
Again, Earnhardt running in 17th right now. Rick Mast, meanwhile, in 10th place right now in the A.J. Foyt Conseco machine.
Making a comeback. As a matter of fact, he dropped back. He started on the outside pole, dropped way back in the field, and now he's making a run back towards the front again. But look who's fixing to put him a lap down as well as he's running.
Yeah, the front's catching him.
Let's see the numbers on Rick Mast. Oh, about lost the rear end of the car right there, and Tony Stewart scoots on by.
I wonder how many beats Tony Stewart's heart skipped at that moment.
Eli, and I've been in this situation before. When you have a car that's handling a little bit off like that, your crew will call you and they'll say, okay, the leader's behind you. Well, it's clearly the best car. He wouldn't be leading. And they want you to take a car that's in 10th and try to hold him back and not lose that lap in case they can make an adjustment if they happen to have a caution or something. So it's pretty much a handful, and they'll say he's coming, and they start giving you intervals, how close you are.
Going a lap down, Mast. Only 9 cars remaining on the lead lap.
Stewart, after winning the race here with this same car in the spring, said you could count on one hand the number of times he has had a car that good. I bet he's going to have to use a second hand as of today because this car twice now has been absolutely glued to the racetrack. After a terrible starting position, Stewart started all the way back in 27th position, and should he win the race today, that's the furthest back anybody will have started this event, not at Dover, because Kyle Petty started as far back as 37th and won, but for this event, this will be a record.
Eli, if Stewart keeps running like he's running right now, he's going to put some serious people down a lap. Jeff Gordon's less than a half a corner in front of him of going a full lap down now.
Of course, Tony may not necessarily push it any further. He's only got 9 miles to go. Only 9 teams are on the lead lap. Stewart, Benson, Rudd, Park, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, Nemechek, Rusty Wallace, and Gordon.
Labonte running in 5th position right now. Another top
gold
5.
mine of a day for him in the points with Jarrett 99 laps down. And Jeff Burton long out of the race. He'll finish 36.
Eli, it reminds you of last year when Dale Jarrett, if he had a bad day, he was still in the top 5. Well, today, Labonte hadn't been a marquee car out there, but he's certainly been in contention, and he's there in 5th place again.
Here's Bobby. He's 7 8/10 seconds behind Stewart. Boy, that's going to be a big one right there. This will be the 7th straight top 5 at Dover for Bobby Labonte if he stays where he is in 5th place. And again, he's got 2 seconds on the next guy in line, Mark Martin.
You remember the time that Tony Stewart ran out of fuel right near the end of the race, and Bobby went on to win the race here.
Of course, fuel not a factor here today. Everybody pitted in and around lap 343, so easy to go the distance. Earnhardt being put another lap down now. And Stewart just marches through the field.
Steve Park running behind him in 4th position right now, also having a great day.
Don't forget, stick around with us when this one is done. We'll have the post-race interviews for you with 5 miles remaining.
There's Park.
He and Rudd.
I'm going to tell you something. We ought to give the Attaboy Award today to Mark Martin. He fought his way back into 6th place after that horrible pit stop when he couldn't get back up to speed, so he's done a great job.
Rudd and Park. That's a good battle for third place.
Right it is.
Riding with Ricky Rudd now.
Took Park 59 tries to get his first top 5. In the last 7 starts, he's going to have 4 of them if he finishes this thing in the top 5. Looks like he will.
He's got a great line there, and just behind him, Labonte says if these guys get a little too aggressive, I've got a couple more spots.
Rudd on the high side, just out of the corner.
Don't do it. I thought he was going to pull up, and I'll tell you, Ricky Rudd, he won't give you any quarters. I'll promise you that. He'll fight you to the very end.
Now, not clear high. Not clear high.
They're 7 seconds behind the leader, Stewart. Tony's got 6.5 seconds on second place, Johnny Benson. And it will be the white flag next time by for Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart's got it made right now, but these guys are fighting for every inch of real estate they can get right now. And the 2 cars, watch Ricky Rudd get a great run up out of the corner, making it impossible. Lap traffic up ahead of them may have something to do with how this shakes out.
White flag is in the air for our race leader, Tony Stewart. While this battle is won by Ricky Rudd to hang on to third.
Steve Park dropped a little momentum there. You see Bobby Labonte now trying him on the outside.
Half a lap to go. Closing in on the 4th win of the year for Tony Stewart. His 7th career victory. And the 8th Pontiac win of 2000. Tony Stewart sweeps at Dover Downs in Delaware here in the 2000 season. Johnny Benson will have a career best second place finish with Rudd, Park, and Bobby Labonte coming home in the top 5. Let's go downstairs to Mike Hogwood.
Yeah, we're getting Greg Zipadelli's coming down right now, and hey, Greg getting a kiss from his wife, handshake from the crew. Hey, Greg, what a day for you and the team and this driver. How about being conservative out there? You kept telling him to take it easy, and that car was flying.
We had a great car, and half the time I told him to slow it up, we went faster. He done a great job. Our pit stops were awesome. We were getting down again, and we come back to Dover and picked ourselves right back up. Really proud of everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing. Bobby had a great run today, built some on a championship. So just proud of everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing.
It's a Dover sweep for this team, Tony Stewart.
Starting in 27th spot. Tony Stewart's going to victory lane, and we will as well. That's another win for Joe Gibbs Racing. TNN Sports live coverage of the MBNA.com 400 has been brought to you by Haviland Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By Wide Track Pontiac Grand Prix, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. And by the new Midas, where a whole new way to keep a good thing going. Tony Stewart a winner again here in the 2000 season. The 6th win of the year for Joe Gibbs Racing. Glenn Jarrett down there. About said, I'm sure, to get another shower.
I dodged the shower this time. I probably need one today. You know, the most sobering statistic of all is this man has an average career finish at Dover of 2nd, a 4th, a 2nd, and 2 firsts. What is it about this racetrack, man? You just kill them.
I don't know, but we need to run it once a month, it sounds like. We, at the beginning of the day, we were kind of fighting loose and tight, and it didn't really know what it wanted to do. But, as the day got on, we got a little better handle on it, and, we had a little help with some really good cars, dropping out of the race. But, the last stop we were good, and, the second to last stop we were pretty good, but the last stop we were real good. And we had it the best of the day on the last run when we needed it.
Well, Tony, we were listening to you on the radio with Greg talking to you, telling you to conserve the car, to take it easy. But he said a while ago, it just made you go faster when you tried to go slower.
Yeah, I've been trying to teach a lot of young kids going slower makes you go faster, and it was one of those deals today. I slowed down and went faster a lot of times. So, Greg knows what he's doing. He knows how to talk to me on the radio and keep me calm.
Well, I tell you what, I said it right at the top of the show. I'll say it one more time, guys. Tony the Tiger tamed the Monster Mile today at Dover. He has every time he's been here. 4th win of the year, ties him for the season lead with Rusty Wallace back up top.
Winning at Dover, Michigan, Loudon, and again here at Dover. Tony Stewart gets the Bryant Cool Driver of the Race Award. Burning hot? Call Bryant to the rescue at 1-888 999 Bryant. We're coming back with more from the Monster Mile. Don't leave us. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, check out the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series tonight here on TNN. You'll see the standard drag racing classes, plus the wild pro mods and the 200-mile-an-hour Nitro Harley motorcycles. It's IHRA Summit Drag Racing tonight at 10:30 Eastern and Pacific right here on TNN. Well, they're still working hard as they have all day. That Mark Martin pit crew, they will be the Red Wing Shoe Work Hard pit crew of the race. Red Wing Shoe Company, America's best choice for durable, comfortable footwear. They worked hard and kept Mark Martin around for a 6th place finish, dealing with only high gear on the restarts. Meanwhile, Johnny Benson matching a career best, a 2nd place finish. Mike Hogwood's with him.
Johnny, how hard was that 2nd place fight today?
I'll tell you what, Mike, that's probably the hardest I've ever run for 2nd, but we were just off a little bit, and the 2nd to the last set was really good, and I thought, man, we got a shot at it, and the last set I was just a little too loose, and Aaron Pontiac was decent all day long. We got it better at the end, and just James Ince, Gary Putnam, everybody here and everybody at the shop just doing a tremendous job building the good race cars, and you know, we're just looking forward to getting through the rest of this year and looking forward to 2001.
And this team, one of the great stories of this 2000 season, as he said, hard work today. Thanks.
Well done for those fellas as we take a look at the top 10 finishing order. Hope your favorite driver was amongst that list. If not, we'll show you where they finished when we come back. Back at Dover Downs, there's the TV compound down below where the crew has been busily at work today. And as the fans file out, take a look and see where your favorite driver finishes in the official rundown today. Matt Kenseth, a lot of guys would take 12th place for him. That's kind of disappointing in light of how well he's run here over the years.
Did you see 16th and 17th, Earnhardt Jr. and Earnhardt?
Yep. And all those fellas there involved in accidents or engine problems and so on.
And Bill Elliott, he fought such a great battle today. He was right up front and then had the problem with the loose lug nuts on the right rear tire.
Heading on to the next race, 249 points the advantage for Bobby Labonte. Consistency the name of the game for him in chase of a championship, while power is the reason for 4 wins for Stewart. So Tony Stewart has won here at Dover Downs today in TNN's final visit to this legendary Monster Mile that dates back to 1969. As we leave you, how about a look back at some of the highlighted moments of TNN's years here at the Monster Mile as we bid you so long from Dover Downs.
Into turn number 3. Knocks it down to about a dozen car lengths, but it won't be enough. Ken Schrader wins the Budweiser 500.
He may be a little more tired than I thought. Kenny Schrader.
Gant can roll and coast down the banking to the line. He's out of gas. Earnhardt comes by. Harry Gant coasts across the line to win the Budweiser 500.
Oh, me.
Trouble on the restart. They just waved the green flag. Earnhardt, Rudd, and Hunt Strickland and Jeff Gordon are all in it.
Well, they got the Goodies Headache Award. They ought to have the Rubber Head of the Race Award, and I give it to Rusty Wallace. That's my vote. I don't know about the rest of these guys that sitting here tore up in the garage, but that was just a dumb, stupid move. I mean, you know.
Only 3 drivers have won at Dover from the pole. David Pearson in 73, Cale Yarborough in 76, Bill Elliott in 1990. Make that 4.
He's crawling out of the car right now. He's going to give a big wave to the fans. There it is.
Battle in
Whoa, John Andretti's out.
And Ricky Craven is around. And everybody else is on the brakes. They'll come off turn 4 for all the money.
Here comes Musgraves underneath Bobby Labonte coming off the corners. Dead heat coming down for the flag.
It is a dead heat. Kyle Petty wins it.
Yeah, this is the furthest back anybody has ever started in Dover to win a race. He started 37th.
And I tell you what, the 18 car and the 16 wore my butt out.
Oh, Jimmy's going right over to Dallenbach. Oh, and he's got problems with Wally.
Don't do that.
Jimmy Spencer.
Cross those 2 guys off each other's Christmas card list.
Take him out.
TNN broadcaster and crew chief Larry McReynolds came back here and got into it with Derek Cope. Walked up, pushed him, and Cope was in his face, Larry was in his face, and they were fixing to go at it.
Meanwhile, after the race ended, there was a confrontation between Michael Waltrip and Kyle Petty, and they had gotten with each other as soon as they got out of the race cars.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Okay, they're to go to the garage.
And listen to the crowd. Just listen to the crowd.
Oh, there goes the 28 car.
Oh, no. 28 is in the wall. Holy cow. Ricky Rudd is the race leader now. As a couple of clean racers battling for the win. Ricky Rudd has picked it up.
Sometimes victory doesn't go always to the fastest car during the race, just the guy who is fastest at the very end.
But right now, he was black flagged by NASCAR. He's coming down pit road for attention to the fenders on the car.
You know, never, ever have I ever seen anybody penalized for pulling a damn fender.
Well, Glenn Jarrett, that man doesn't have to refinance at all.
No, I don't know if this is the right time to ask him for a loan again. I've been turned down every time.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
That young man there has been flagging races from his grandstand seat for years. He started with just a little tight. This will be the 37th race since last he won. Bobby Labonte wins here at Dover Downs International Speedway, and his third consecutive win in the September running of the MBNA Gold 400. Mark Martin and Roush Racing heading back to victory lane here at Dover Downs Speedway in Delaware. Kyle Petty, for the first time since 1981, gets aboard his dad's race car.
There's going to be a big celebration when he climbs out of this thing, guys. These, like Greg Zipadelli said, they've been through a little bit of a rough time this year. Tony's first win, and they're getting the Gatorade bath.
And Tony will have his fourth career NASCAR Winston Cup win. And then there was today. As Yogi Berra might have said, deja vu all over again. They ran the 400 miles, and the same fellas were celebrating as Tony Stewart wins the MBNA.com 400. All of us here at TNN Sports want to thank the first families of Dover Downs, the Melvin Joseph family and the Rollins family, for all of their hospitality here over the years. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage from Dover Downs. We'll see you later this season. But we say so long to this venerable racetrack. For the whole crew, Eli Gold, good night, everybody.